ending. You can give anything, so you can go, go, go. Go, 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 yeah. So I can focus, I just need to focus on myself. Oh, you better go, go, go. Go, 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 yeah. So I can focus, I just need to focus on myself. Yeah, so you can go, go, go. Go, 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 go. So I can focus, I just need to focus on myself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You better go, go, go. Go, 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 go. So I can focus, I just need to focus on myself, baby, hear it on the phone. If you got something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Let it ride. Let it ride again. Hey, just let it, yeah. It's all good, baby. Today is Friday, November 12th, 2021. Thanks so much for joining us through those technical difficulties. Nonetheless, this is the Benjamin Dixon Show, and we are on the clock this morning with my dear friend, Pastor Reverend Anthony Galloway, pastor of St. Mark AME. We have so many different topics to talk about, but it seems as though the universe provides an adequate amount of, I don't want to say schadenfreude, but certainly content that is worthwhile discussing with the pastor, no less. How are you this morning, Pastor Galloway?
I'm blessed. I'm awake and I'm excited to be here.
And you're awake because you're in Central or your Mountain Time. What time are you zone?
Yep.
Are you in?
I'm in Central Time. Yep. So it's 7 o'clock
ugh.
here.
Man, bless you for getting up this early in the morning. We really do appreciate it. And there's some stories that we want to talk about that I want to get your insight on. But before we jump into the news, I kind of want to tease a little bit about what I want to make some space for and to talk about your journey becoming the pastor there and the connection to your roots. Because let me tell you, man, one of the things I'm most excited about in my life right now is digging through my family roots and all the generations, talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, it's there's some full circleness to it. The church is the historic Black church of Duluth. It's at the beginning of kind of the northern corridor of the state. It's also the city where the 3 Black men were lynched in the early 1900s, and so this church has that history.
Minnesota,
Duluth, Minnesota.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And so I found out upon being appointed to this church by the bishop that my great-great-grandparents were members of this church as multiple generations in that church. And so there's some full circleness there. And then even the pastors who brought me into ministry and then licensed me to preach had all been pastors at this church before. So there's a whole full circleness to the appointment.
I think that's brilliant, man. I want to talk more about that as we go this morning, because that's what are the odds, right? What are the chances? But who needs odds or chances when you got favor? That's a whole different conversation. Let's talk about some of the stuff in the news that is very, very, very disturbing and troubling. The defense in the case of the murderers of Ahmaud Arbery made it very clear that they didn't want any more Black pastors coming into the proceedings, into the hearings, into the trial. The first clip I want to give is a look at the trial thus far, because one thing that we've noticed is that this last week has been all about Kyle Rittenhouse. Well, there's a case going on down here in Georgia, or rather over there in Georgia, and it has to do with the murder of a Black man at the hands of 3 vigilantes. So let's take a look first at the summary of the case this far.
In this case, all 3 of these defendants did everything they did based on assumptions.
Satilla Shores is a quiet, scenic, middle-class neighborhood. The kind of neighborhood where parents let the kids ride around on their bikes. This is the family and community that Travis McMichael felt a duty and responsibility to, made him willing to put himself at risk to help the police detain Ahmaud Arbery. Because Satilla Shores was a neighborhood on edge. Crime had gone up.
In Brunswick, Georgia, the trial of Gregory and Travis McMichael and William Roddy Bryan in the death of Ahmaud Arbery is set to enter its 5th day. The chief investigator of the case testified that Bryan told him he tried to cut Arbery off with his truck, saying he wished he could have hit him because if he did, maybe Arbery would not have been shot.
When I turned around, he took off running into the house.
Okay. Travis McMichael calling police days before the fatal encounter with Ahmaud Arbery, reporting that he sees a man in a house under construction in his neighborhood.
What did he look like?
It's a black male, red shirt, white shorts. When I turned around and saw him and backed up, he reached into his pocket and ran into the house. So I don't know if he's armed or not.
Earlier, jurors heard an emergency call by defendant Gregory McMichael, reporting a suspicious person months before his son's call.
We just went up there and made contact with a real shady-looking fella. And he, possibility he may be the one that's been breaking into all these automobiles out there at night.
Arbery's parents say they remain hopeful. The tapes make the McMichaels sound like they're responsible citizens reporting crimes. It has emerged that Arbery was in that neighborhood on at least 4 different occasions at night, caught on home security video. And there's not yet been a really good explanation for why that is the case. The prosecutors are going to try and show that the McMichaels and Bryan overreacted and pursued Arbery because he was African American.
Pastor Galloway, there are miles of volumes that could be written about this. What is your first reaction?
Well, one of my fraternity brothers is part of the Juror Project in Louisiana, and he had talked to us, to me in Georgia, on a podcast that we do a while ago, talking about the jury selection in the Chauvin trial, which we covered. And this was again one of those things, right? I get a sense. Have you ever seen that movie Liar Liar with Jim Carrey? There's a part where he objects to something, and the judge goes, "Why?" And he goes, "Because it's detrimental to my case." That's essentially what we see happening here, with the not wanting to have, this concern about somehow the jury is going to be influenced not by facts or figures, but by purely intimidation of somebody who represents or may represent Black community interests, right? And so one of the things that's interesting in all of this, and when we had Will Snowden from the Juror Project on, he talked about the fact that juries have been a huge issue in our history. One, the fact that we don't serve on juries, but juries have often overturned even convictions where we've won. And so juries are a huge deal. And so it makes sense to me that the defense will be trying to make a case, not necessarily because of what they think the jury might do, but to lay the groundwork for appeal later on. And this is something that we saw maneuvering in the Chauvin trial as well, in some of those head scratching moments. And so I'm seeing that as one of the reasons why this focusing on this may be a thing.
What insidious plots they have. Let's go to this next clip. This next clip is the one where the defense makes it clear, like you said, Pastor Galloway, they didn't want the very presence of the interest of the Black community in the form of a Black pastor. There is a lot of debate whether or not Al Sharpton is that representative or if there is any such representative, but that's a whole nother conversation for a different day. Let's listen to this absurd clip.
My understanding while I was cross-examining Investigator Lowry yesterday is that the Right Reverend Al Sharpton managed to find his way into the back of the courtroom. I'm guessing he was somehow there at the invitation of the victim's family in this case. And I have nothing personally against Mr. Sharpton. My concern is that it's one thing for the family to be present. It's another thing to ask for the lawyers to be present. But if we're going to start a precedent, starting yesterday, where we're going to bring high-profile members of the African-American community into the courtroom to sit with the family during the trial in the presence of the jury, I believe that's intimidating, and it's an attempt to pressure, could be consciously or unconsciously, an attempt to pressure or influence the jury. To my knowledge, Reverend Al Sharpton has no church in Blaine County, never has. Hasn't been here since Elaine Brown ran for mayor, to my knowledge. The idea that we're going to be serially bringing these people in to sit with the victim's family one after another, obviously there's only so many pastors they can have. And if their pastor's Al Sharpton right now, that's fine, but then that's it. We don't want any more Black pastors coming in here, or other Jesse Jackson, whoever was in here earlier this week, sitting with the victim's family, trying to influence a jury in this case. I think the court can understand my concern about bringing people in who really don't have any ties to this case other than political interests.
Pastor Galloway.
you see that sister's face? You see the white sister's face next to it?
Yes.
I'm glad someone appreciated my handiwork.
And here's the thing. For the most part, I listened to the show. When I heard your expression, I went to look at her face. But even in just listening to this, Pastor Galloway, I promise you this sounds like it could be 1950. I promise you it could be taking out something off of A Time to Kill. Give me, what are your other thoughts about this?
Well, so at the risk of I'm just going to come out and say it, right? So your job as a defense attorney is to throw everything you can at this for your client. And so unfortunately, we live in a society where this is an option. This is a way that can work. At the same time, that insinuation that somehow, you can only have so many pastors. If the family has called for a spiritual leader in community to come and be a part of something, that is not new. And that's something that's called upon in many different areas. I've got folks who have familial connections to me as a new pastor who are going to be facing some court proceedings. And when you are in the midst of either being on trial and having, somebody who has victimized your family there, having somebody there who brings some kind of comfort to you is a thing. And so I just want to make sure that folks don't see this purely as something else, right? At the same time, it very well could be a factor to remind folks of the connection of this to something much larger. But it isn't just Al Sharpton that represents that. And it's not the only time that I've seen that used in other ways. How many times have I seen folks in the audience? I mean, one of my favorite examples of this doesn't even come from real life, right? It's The Godfather, when Michael Corleone brings in the guy who's his witness against him's brother for the same way. So the idea that's going to be used in one hand and not in the other. I'm being facetious with that reference, but
right, yeah.
The fact that it's going to be used in one group and not by the other. The other piece is watch the correction of the lawyer as he's talking about this. He immediately goes and starts using the language conscious or unconscious, right? Oh, let me just assume that maybe this is not, they don't even intend this, but it has this net effect at the end.
Now they believe in unconscious biases.
Exactly. And we saw it in the Rittenhouse case as well, with the judges trying to decide, what can be there and what cannot, right? Even in the Chauvin trial that we covered, that Ms. Georgia covered, what comes forward even in that was this insinuation that somehow the movement for changing laws that are resulting in these unarmed deaths and things like that isn't of itself political. You often get into conversations where folks will bring in or have a racial conversation, and folks who have either had the privilege of never having those conversations or not being in those will say, oh, why are you being so political? So then that your own racial experience isn't of itself political means that you can't defend yourself in many different areas because that terminology is used. So there's dog whistles even in what was happening here to the tactics of not having racialized discourse so that things don't have to change, or so that I don't have to deal with the reality and the severity of my part.
Even far back into the first clip, right? That I see that thread going back where the insinuation in the 911 calls that this is a nice neighborhood, the kind of neighborhood that you get to ride your bikes in. Do black folks not get to ride bikes in neighborhoods? Do we not get, is it just inherently suspicious? What did the guy call him? Said he looked spooky, or some kind of reference he used. Is it inherently terrifying to white people to see us outside exercising? That's why I took so much time getting to know all of the white folks on the beach I'm currently exercising on every morning, because, a black man in a red hoodie is a pretty big target.
Well, and see, this is the net outcome of some of these mental models that are if Kyle Rittenhouse hadn't grown up with mental models that said that this kind of political organizing or protesting and have a certain mindset of that, he would have never gone into that situation in that way. If these two, fake vigilantes that gunned down Ahmaud Arbery, if they didn't have these mental models, if this hadn't been set, if these perceptions and stereotypes hadn't been set, then the actions that resulted from them wouldn't have been what they are. And so we've got to keep in mind, and I think that's what's being resisted so much here, is that if we allow for these mental models to be a conversation, we might actually see that the behaviors that have resulted in the loss of life are a result of growing up with these mental models, and that shame is just too hard to bear for some people.
Before we move on to the next topic, Doc, I want to get Al Sharpton's response on this. And again, and I'm with you. I just want to make it clear that she could pull it. I wish there was a challenge. How many black pastors are we? There's a long list of black pastors. I mean, we could put a new black pastor in there every hour through the rest of this trial and have a black pastor who is representative of this family's intent. That said, here's Al Sharpton's response.
Now tell them they can't have the ministers of their choice to sit there and console them while they're sitting there looking at who murdered their son and their families. So now you not only have taken their son, you want to take those of us that would come and console them. Now clearly, as the judge responded, it was directed at me, because how do they know the difference between a black pastor or not? I think that clearly, because I was in the courtroom yesterday in Brunswick, Georgia, and they think that because some of the jurors appeared to recognize me, that would influence or intimidate the jury. The parents said publicly they invited me to come. I've been with them from the beginning. They have the right to be consoled by anyone. We were not being disruptive, as the judge said. But the audacity, the arrogance to say that not only are you going to have to sit there and look at your son's killers every day and their families, we're going to choose who can come and console you in the courtroom. It's like pouring salt in the wound. I'll be back. The parents invited me, as they said yesterday, and they said yesterday they want me to come again, and I will make it my business to come again.
You know, Pastor Sharpton has something. He's on to something there, and I'd like to flesh it out with you a little bit. If it's about Al Sharpton, then this defense attorney should have said it with his chest and called him out and just said, hey, I don't like Al Sharpton being here because Al Sharpton represents a very specific type of intimidation. Okay, that's arguable. But instead of having the courage to do that very directly, this defense attorney fell into the arms of the collective strength of white supremacy and said, no black pastors allowed. Well, not anymore.
This has a lot of this hits home for us here in Minnesota, because we have the Potter trial coming up and the killing of Daunte Wright, which happened the week of the Chauvin verdict. And so
that's right.
And I was there, one of the pastors who was called in by the Wright family at the vigil. And so we got to see that in our cultural community space, especially the spiritual community space, as it pertains to black cultural spiritual connections, they were happy to see. We had a pastoral vanguard. There were clergy from across the region that helped to set up a kind of a barrier parameter and make sure the family got to grieve the way that they did and help them create a prayer service for it. And the look on the Wright family's face when Attorney Crump showed up and this other folks came in there, this sigh that said, okay, great. We're going to make sure that folks are going to keep attention on this, and this is going to be treated the way it needs to be, is a piece of the comfort. And so I just want to call into the fact that this isn't the first time that we've seen a family reach out to clergy and clergy be able to show up for that level of comfort. The other piece that comes to mind here, and I fully agree with you on that point, that if this was about somehow a political game being played or a political act of intimidation on the part of quote unquote those black pastors, then he should have said it and called it out in that way. The fact that he didn't, sets that precedent that anybody who represents faith walks could be that intimidation. So if white pastors show up in their collars to stand with the family and help console them in this really, really difficult time as they watch and sit here and see that their killers may go free, that matters. And that requires some pastoral care. And I think we'd be hard pressed to find a whole lot of legitimate, Christ thinking pastors, if you're in the Christian faith side of things, that wouldn't say, hey, my duty is to do that. And I would put that challenge out to anybody. If I am in need and you are a pastor and I call for your help, our job is to show up. Period.
Well, I think though the defense attorney would not have a problem with the white pastor showing up any more than the people on the beach that I'm kind of occupying would have had a problem with a white guy in a red hoodie showing up. There's just no inherent danger seen with these whiteness, these people who occupy that space of whiteness, not about their skin. It's about their ideology. They have a consistent ideology. There's no fear of a white pastor because they know that white pastor is going to be on their side politically.
Can I also add that one of the things that has to be spoken here is that Al Sharpton has been there and witnessed and walked through this situation, unfortunately, with many families. So,
right.
So it makes sense to get somebody who has that faith walk and that understanding and has been there and seen this play out. And so, it's the families of folks who have been victimized in this way talk to each other and they share. Yeah. And so you can't tell me that the Arbery family hasn't talked to the Wright family or the Floyd family or the Rice family or any of these other folks have lost folks and said, hey, here are some things to think about. There's a group of women who have lost children in this way that have gotten together and they have breakfasts and meetings and they're connecting to each other and they reach out whenever another mother falls into this unfortunate situation. And so there are networks of folks to support families. And Al Sharpton was part of setting that up. And so,
I want people to really think about that, man. Think about that. The fact that they are killing so many black folks, that there's now a most feared sorority and fraternity that no one wants to be a part of. But no, they've killed enough of us for there to be an entire group of people who can create communities around how to survive the collective grief and the trauma of having your child killed either by a vigilante, your black child killed by a vigilante or by the police. We're almost out of time. And I know we did get started a little late here, so we probably will go over a few minutes over the 8:30 hour. I want to shift gears to this Flint water crisis and the $626 million settlement that has been approved. The funds will go to residents of Flint, Michigan. Let's take a listen to this most significant update.
For residents harmed by lead-tainted water in Flint, Michigan. In 2014, the city switched its water supply from Lake Huron to the Flint River. The state was accused of overlooking the risks of switching the city's water source without treating the water to reduce corrosion. As a result, the water caused lead in old pipes to break off and flow through taps. Flint later switched back to a Detroit regional water agency in 2015.
Settlement of $626 million means every child who was exposed, plus many adults, businesses, and others, will receive payments. The money is coming mainly from the state, which allegedly ignored the problem.
Okay, listening to that breakdown, thank you for putting that pasting that together for us, David, because it does jog my memory as to how this happened in the first place. Those emergency powers given to a Republican governor back in the day, and he made that switch. My memory may be jogged a little bit, but yeah, this is how we got here, and now they're willing to pay $626 million. What's your thoughts, Pastor Galloway?
Well, so it's funny. This is the way that God puts those in place. So the Lutheran Church has a water environmental justice arm in the Minneapolis Synod, and I was able to travel with several Lutheran pastors and other clergy to go and do some support for frontline workers in the Flint water crisis. This starts way before this 2014 situation, though. This is one of several crises. The first crisis was the water shutoffs, when the water bills spiked and skyrocketed, and folks couldn't afford their water bills, and people began to shut off water. And Legionnaire's disease began to run rampant in the shutoff pipes. That's what started the People's Water Board in Flint, Michigan. 2014 was another crisis that was brought on by the giving over of powers to a city manager after they ousted the black mayor of that area. And so the movement from Michigan water to there's a whole lot that goes into there. And so I just want to make sure that folks see the connection of this as one standpoint. And so when they see the settlement that comes forward and how it'll be geared towards children in particular and folks who have lost business and things like that, that $626 million starts to get real small when you think about the folks who began having issues in the early 2000s. And then this was just a compounding factor. So I'm glad that it moved in this direction, and it's the largest of its kind, but it does not address the need that might actually exist there. And it doesn't acknowledge the long history of the People's Water Board struggling for water issues in this area.
I did not know that first part. No, I didn't know that was but there's always more backstory, isn't there? There's always something that's a prelude to a prelude.
I want to offer one of the things, the stabs in the eye that we saw and heard from the frontline workers who began to tell us the fuller story, right, is that all this while Nestle's able to draw as much water in that out of Lake Michigan water table almost as they want, and so this idea about where do we not have the resources for this again, this whole while, Nestle's having to deal with this PR issue of the fact that they get to draw copious amounts of water as they want and need for their own market. And so there's a lot of pieces that go into this that those frontline workers wanted to bring forward. Go to the People's Water Board in Flint, Michigan, and they'll tell you a lot more of those stories on the ground that help to contextualize this a lot better.
Man, listen, it's so much. You know what I think we're suffering under? I think we're suffering under a strategy of oversaturation. There's an oversaturation of absurdities that we're living under every single moment of every single day, that we're not able to really triangulate the real position, right? Think about this, man. Nestle can get all the water they want, and Flint is now, years later, how many families, how many lives have been destroyed, and now finally going to get a settlement. And I am worried. I am concerned about the distribution of that settlement and how it's going to be how much is each person getting? What is the percentage that the attorneys are taking? Because at the end of the day, you give this money out and these people still end up in poverty. Oh, that's a problem.
Well, and to that point, this is the settlement for addressing the wrongs. The judge did hold separate the decision and talk about the attorney's fees, which has a potential still to be added as something separate. So we may actually see this number go up in terms of overall money that has to get paid out. So that is still in the works. The
details matter. Oh, and with the victory, there's the conversation about attorney's fees. Listen, Pastor Galloway, stick with us for the next segment. We're going to be speaking about what's going on in Puerto Rico. DJ Exclusive is in the building, so I want to yield the floor to get us a music break. When we come back, I want to get in the conversation basically about the religious leaders picking our politicians. There's a lot there, and we got to unpack it while we have you here. We'll be back with more on the Benjamin Dixon Show right after this.
Tonight, I'm gonna make it mine. I stepped out, stepping on next. Little baddie, cashing big checks. I bought the whole block out, now that's a big flex. Peeping out my Uber window, like what's next? Got new levels and new devils out the wazoo. Ain't no worries, life gets better when you find you. And if you mind you, peace will abide and hide you until it's time to start anew. So live it up, we grown, ain't got no curfew. Who brought the bad vibes? Tell that bitch move. Walking all in my inner, that's a bitch move. Pressed that I arrived, mad that I survived. All your sad attempts to send me to the sky. But I've been in the wind, been had wings, I was always this fly. Oh yes, and that's probably why you're mad. Don't let AV turn you into a trash bag. So get glad, find out why you sad. All that jealousy, you should subside. I think it's time to turn that mirror on you. Put it up close for a clear view. And look deep down inside. And soon you will find a pretty soul that needs more shine. My world has come together, and maybe I just wanna let it shine. There is no good or better. I think tonight I'm gonna make it mine. 1, 2, mean right hook. Come and test me, my mom deep will have you shook. It's a marathon, but baby girl, never let up. No need for speed, but keep your foot up on the gas pedal. Ain't worried about having a golden award when God made me to be an ice cold medal. Why are you always pressed about my life? Talking with your friend and me's about me, saying, ooh, girl, have you seen it like the shine lights? You tried, but you could never dim my light. Please know I'm untouchable, girl. I'll slip through your fingers like a real fly kite. Why you wanna turn a good day into fight night? Constantly projecting all the negativity. Take that bad energy and go and get your mind right. Say a prayer tonight to keep your soul tight. You in the big world of danger, cause you dwell in that drama. I put the work in, now I got the big bags that you call Birkins. My world has come together, and maybe I just wanna let it shine. There is no good or better. I think tonight I'm gonna make it mine.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
My world has come together, and maybe I just wanna let it shine. There is no good or better. I think tonight.
Check, mic check. y'all got your coffee and tea, whatever it is you need to get your morning started, y'all. Happy Friday! Woo!
Every day is just the beginning.
Made it, we made it.
Now I'm winning.
Long weekend. No, it's not. It's a good weekend. Ain't got nothing to do with class and all motherfucking weekend, and I can't wait. Good morning, everybody, y'all. Come on in, listen to it. Get settled. My headphones have gone completely out, so I have to switch on the break. I have the big over-the-ear boys, so y'all just hold on a second.
Climbing every mountain, keep both eyes on the top, and nothing's gonna tell me to stop. Oh, push me through the fire, all I'm gonna feel is the heat, burning underneath of my feet. Ooh, so call me crazy, tell me lies, it won't stop me, watch me rise, no more anchors holding me down, 'cause all I need is more. One more hour, one more minute, one more chance for me to win it.
There we go. Now I feel like I'm really in the mood. I got these big ass headphones on. Service sweetheart, good morning, sister. What's going on? Frida, good morning. Melanie Dennis, good morning to everybody, y'all. Hate these big headphones. Lily, good morning.
All I need is more. All I need is more.
Shout out Chuck Diesel, Roller Dragon, what's going on? Anna Hart, Cat Givers, good morning. Hollywood, what's going on? Good morning, y'all. Y'all know it be the same two haters disliking the stream every morning. And the same two won't say F you all day long. Y'all keep on disliking, suckers. The same two. Big man, bro, the same two. They ain't got nothing else better to do than not like the stream. You got everything else going on. Y'all ain't liking the stream. Pandemic still going on. Y'all still ain't liking the stream. We in a whole pancake. Y'all out here disliking the stream. That's okay. If I ain't had nothing to do, I just go around disliking streams all day too. It's okay. It's all good though. We still love you, whoever it is. Tiger, good morning, Tiger. Tiger says, putting out a call for anyone in Virginia. Neo-Nazi activity popped up in my town. Wow, Tiger. Brother Lateef, what's going on? Sophia, good morning. Laura Strada, good morning to you if you're in the building. B, good morning. Exactly, B. As long as they're engaging, that's all that matters. And look, somebody said it might be an ex. Me and ex of me and Rebecca's baby. Yvonne Young, she's doing pretty good. She's still in pain, but she's okay. Mara Sharice, good morning.
With that cream, baby,
Susan, good morning.
on me, baby, shade it. We can cook up, we can stir up when we hook up, just you and me. With that cream, with that
Jay Parachute, good morning. Luke Kane, good morning to you.
and that sweet on me. We can cook up, we can stir up, when we hook up, just you and you and me.
Sandy, good morning. We love you too. Hey man, don't y'all forget tonight, patron party tonight, 9 p.m. It is going
down. You don't want to miss it, man. Have your face in the place tonight. Major party, y'all. Make sure that's all there. You don't want to miss it, y'all. Good morning, Mom and Daddy. Good morning. Pennsylvania. It sounds like Transylvania. Y'all, welcome back to the screen, y'all. Tunde, roll that intro. My brother from another mother. Benjamin Dixon, y'all. Good morning, everybody.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Friday, November 12th, 2021. I am Benjamin Dixon, joined, as always, by my brother from another mother, DJ Exclusive, on the ones and twos. DJ Exclusive, you look like an old school DJ with those headphones this morning. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm all right. These things is hot.
And we're also joined by
boxing your ears.
Man, what? I guarantee you by the end of the show, when I pull these off, sweat is just gonna pour down like a rainfall. Okay.
Hey, Pastor Galloway, sweat like drops of blood, right? Take them down oh man, that's as far as my theology kind of my memory goes. I can't go deep as I used to. Thank you. That's where it was. We were going to take them to the garden in the Gethsemane. That's where we were going to take them. And who else could take us there better than Pastor Anthony Galloway joining us again for this segment, brother? Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
No problem. Before and Pastor Galloway, before we get started, you know, I'm a man that realizes and notices a lot of things, and I don't know if maybe my Zoom just froze up, but I swear that thing say Pascal Robert, and I'm like, that's not Pascal.
Man, let me tell you something. Baba Tunde, I can hear Baba Tunde in the background cussing.
Y'all know I call out everything. Yo, man, come on.
Baba Tunde said, listen, in all fairness to everything that could go wrong technically went wrong this morning, right before the ship was about to take off. So we've been flying the ship as we've been repairing it, and we've been in the very capable hands of none other than our brother Baba Tunde. So shout out to you, brother. And also we have in the midst of all this, we actually have our guest that I want to bring into the conversation. A conversation, to be quite honest, I've been trying to have on our show for some time, but because of scheduling conflicts with my friend Andrew Padilla, we weren't able to bring him or to have this conversation. But I want to bring on Carlos Berríos Polanco, who's joining us to discuss his work around Puerto Rico. And this morning, we are going to talk the situation about the power grid, the debt, the privatization of the electrical grid, and the ongoing protests, and honestly, all but crisis that's going on in Puerto Rico. Thank you for joining us this morning. How are you?
Hi, happy to be here. How's everyone doing?
Doing great, man. Pleasure having you. Help the people. Like we have a couple of clips that can contextualize the conversation, but could you just kind of help us to understand what's going on in Puerto Rico with the privatization or the partial privatization of the grid and the protests that are coming into reaction?
So Puerto Rico's electrical grid, the transmission and the distribution of the grid was privatized earlier this year, starting on June 1st. And since then, we've seen several increases in power with a marked decrease in the quality of the service we're getting. And as far as the protests go, there's been a mix of protests against the company that privatized the electrical grid and also against the Financial Oversight and Management Board, which is trying to pass a debt restructuring plan currently.
So help us to I can see through all those things that you just said, because I've been following this story and studying these things for a while. I kind of want to see if we can help the audience get a good visceral grasp of what's happening. Maybe you can help us understand better how we even got to this conversation. Give us some kind of background. How did they get here to the point of privatization? Because when we're talking about, this is a private company, this is a corporation who is now getting some financial benefit, but it's coming at the expense of the people there, and the people are subsequently protesting. Give us a little bit of the history there.
So for years, Puerto Rico had been incurring debts, trying to pay off government paychecks, and just trying to pay for stuff in general. And then during the Obama-Biden term, they established the Financial Oversight and Management Board, and as part of their bid to restructure the debt, they kind of like influenced the Governor Rosselló, who was later ousted, to privatize this part of the electrical grid. And then Luma Energy, which is the company that currently runs transmission and distribution, won that contract. And now they've taken over the privatization of the grid from the Puerto Rican Electric Power Authority, which was the public utility that used to control the entire system of the grid.
So we're at the transition point in Puerto Rico's infrastructure narrative, where you're going to the partial privatization phase, where now Luma Energy, did I say that pronounce that correctly?
Yeah.
Luma Energy is a private corporation who's won a contract. Why is there a contract for bid in the first place? Why is something that was a public utility now being a privatized conversation? I mean, it's a contract now. Why?
Well, as I had said earlier, the Financial Oversight and Management Board was brought in to kind of deal with Puerto Rico's debt. And as part of that dealing with the debt, they influenced the government to sell that part of the electrical grid, because supposedly it would help Puerto Rico deal with the debt. But from what we've seen, it just has only increased the debt and given us a worse service. Yeah.
There it is. That's the supposedly. That it's supposedly trickle down economics was supposed to trickle down, right? There's a lot of supposeds with these. I want to bring in Pastor Galloway. We were working to get a little something fixed on the back end there. Pastor Galloway, just jump into the conversation wherever it is that you see best.
Well, just saying hello. I got family in Ponce and Fajardo, so it hurts my heart to see this happening. And then, we had just gotten done talking with what happens when we begin to start to interfere and give oversight away from kind of publicly observed services with Flint, Michigan. And so we see a parallel between the two. What is some of the organizing that's happening on the ground? Like what are some of the ways in which folks are reacting to this and trying to figure out how to marshal power to address the skyrocketing costs, because we saw this with Flint water, the skyrocketing costs that began the Flint crisis in the early 2000s. And now we have skyrocketing costs here. Again, looking down the line, what are some of the ways that people are organizing against it?
Well, on the ground, there are several groups that have been trying to fight the privatization since it was announced way back when, mainly consisting of the Electrical Workers Union, UTIER, which had been protesting for years. And on the day of when the transmission distribution kind of got shifted to Luma, they did several protests at storage centers for equipment where they didn't let Luma pass until they were kind of forced to leave. And now some UTIER workers are working for Luma. Some have been distributed to other places. Others have sadly lost their jobs. But on the ground, there has been, I want to say, at least one protest every week against Luma, against the Financial Oversight Board, trying to urge the government to cancel its contract with Luma.
Man, this story really goes. There's so many components to how we got here. The one that you hear me striking at the most is the philosophical lie the underlying lie, because I mean, and that's me saying it. You as a journalist, it is the supposed theory that this was supposed to fix the debt price crisis. Now, Anthony, I think you'll probably, be with me as we question why there's a debt crisis in the first place and the connection to colonial, all those problems. But I just kind of want to harp on the many lies that are told to us that we observe as fact. But when we get the data, it shows the exact opposite, because help me to understand, did Luma do a good job at bringing down the debt crisis there in Puerto Rico?
So far, we haven't seen exact numbers, and that's part of this is a little bit of a separate conversation, but Luma is currently embroiled in at least several lawsuits because they refuse to give information about the company to the court. And actually, just yesterday or the day before, I kind of getting my dates mixed up a little bit, a judge issued an order for the arrest of Luma's CEO because they refused to hand over the documents, and they handed over some. Yeah. So today's Thursday, Tuesday, I want to say, although I should. Yesterday or the day before, they issued an order for arrest at about 9 a.m. And then people were searching for the CEO, Wayne Stensby, until they held a special hearing where Stensby's lawyers convinced the judge to suspend the warrant until Monday while they check the documents that Luma did give over to see if they fulfilled all the requirements. And that's what they're currently checking into.
My friend, excuse my expression, but Pastor Galloway, that connecting tapestry of doing the crime and then refusing to testify or to acknowledge a subpoena. I mean, this is a global thing. Pastor Galloway, get the last question in, and then I want to speak, or rather, just jump in there for me.
So, we have in this story the exacerbation of the problems with the electrical grid with the storm that came through. And so, in all of this embroiled back and forth, is the infrastructure actually being built? I mean, as we deal with these skyrocketing prices, is the actual infrastructure challenge being addressed at all?
Well, supposedly they're working on fixing, but we haven't seen a lot of that yet. Actually, when Luma took over, we saw a spike in blackouts to the point where there was, I believe, in early September, there was a point where about 19% of the island was without power, or 19% of the customers of Luma were without power, which is a lot of people.
Carlos, so they're incompetent on top of everything else.
Yeah,
I know this may not be like, I'm the commentary guy. I know you're the journalist. Let's listen to this clip from Representative Katie Porter, and we also have a clip from Rashida Tlaib. I was going to end the conversation, but as you're talking, Pastor Galloway, you reminded me that there's some things that they're going to point out here. Let's take this first clip. Katie Porter.
One of the places most affected by extreme weather over the past 2 decades, and that is Puerto Rico. Hurricane Maria destroyed the island's electrical grid 4 years ago and left residents in the dark for months. Today, the fragile power system.
How many blackouts have been reported since Luma took over on June 1?
The system has a very large number of outages, Congresswoman, both
can you even count them? Is it so big you can't even keep track of them all?
There are outages every single day.
If you're having trouble doing this, and there's voltage spikes, destroyed appliances, house fires, complaints about customer service, why should Luma be allowed to continue to manage the plant if it's not actually delivering electricity?
Luma has nothing to do with the AES coal plant. Our job is to operate the electric system.
Do you not get energy from this plant that you then move along the grid?
Puerto Rico receives energy from that plant, yes.
And then you move it along the grid?
That energy is flowed through the grid to customers.
How long do you think it will be until Luna can deliver the energy in a consistent and reliable way with blackouts that are comparable to what we see in the United States and what you saw at your prior employer?
I believe that it's going to take many years to transform all of Puerto Rico's electric system. It's going to require the FEMA funding, and it requires a complete overhaul It took decades to get where we are today, and it's going to get better month by month by month. But frankly, it's going to take many years to get a world-class electric system here.
Carlos, we're running up on time, but I am just flabbergasted at the fact that the entire island of Puerto Rico is now at the mercy of the mediocrity of this corporation that's getting hundreds. I'm sure they're getting hundreds. They're talking about FEMA funding, so we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that they're going to have access to. Help me understand.
They were asking for, currently they're asking $10 billion in funding to do.
Magnitudes of order more.
Grid. Yeah, it's like they're getting tons and tons of money, but we haven't seen any market improvement. We've seen a marked decrease in quality that we're getting, which is why so many people continue protesting, continue kind of fighting to get this contract canceled, because we're just worried about being left in the dark permanently.
It's obscene. This is obscene. What can we do? We've kind of fleshed this out as much as we could in this time that we've had. What's the call to action, and how can we help?
Well, you could write to representatives on the National Resources Council of the United States, I believe, is the one who are handling Luma Energy, and also Reps Katie Porter and Reps Rashida Tlaib are the ones who I've seen constantly dealing with Stensby and asking him the hard questions. And then also support people in Puerto Rico, kind of like boosting their voices like this, I think is a very good way to get the message out.
You know, Carlos, I keep trying to get away from it, but my producer is saying we got to hear this clip from Rashida Tlaib, because not only are we talking about incompetence, we're talking about salaries that they don't even want to disclose. Let's take a listen to this before we get out of here.
How many Luma employees executives earn over $200,000, and how many earn over $500,000?
I think it was asked that question earlier, but
and you didn't want to answer, right?
I'm not able to disclose employee salaries.
Yeah. If you want to get in the business of providing a public good, and for the federal government to subsidize it, or for us to play a part in it, then you understand that those salaries are also the public salary. Do you understand? So just know that it doesn't make sense that you don't want to reveal that. You don't even have to tell me the names of it. I think Velasquez and I are just curious, how many of your employees earn over 200,000, and how many of them earn 500,000? I don't need names. I just want to know how many. So if you can follow up and talk to your legal folks, I think they'll come back and tell you that should be actually transparent and open. Do you know what the median household income is in Puerto Rico?
No, I do not, Congressman.
Yeah, it's $20,000, according to the Census Bureau. $20,000. So Luma has received millions of dollars and stands to receive billions more in an attempt to privatize the grid in Puerto Rico over the next 15 years. But the last 4 months have been a disaster for the people of Puerto Rico, and privatization, I know, will only worsen it. And the fact of the matter is, you failed them just alone in the last 4 months. So please understand that my frustration with all of this is because they deserve to make sure that they have access to something that is very much a lifeline to medical issues they're struggling with, being able to provide for their families, of course, food, all those things, appliances, everything is so connected.
Brother Carlos, I wanted to get that clip in there. Listen, thank you so much for bringing this coverage and sharing this information with us. Tell everyone how they can get up with you.
Well, you can keep up with me on my Twitter at Vaquero2XL. It's right there on the screen, VAQUERO2XL. And then I'll have an article later at LatinoRebels.com talking about Stensby, Luma CEO Wayne Stensby's arrest warrant and how it kind of all went down.
Thanks so much for joining us, my friend. We have to have you back soon.
Happy to be here.
Take care.
Bye. Have a good day.
Thank you. Pastor Galloway, if you could, just for a few more minutes here, that conversation I almost was getting ready to go another layer deeper, because the connectivity with everything that's happening around us is just screaming at us.
And of course, there's the conversation around statehood and what would be in place and could be in place around that in that conversation. So yeah, the layers are upon layers are there. But you know, at the end of the day, we have U.S. citizens who are receiving this level of disservice and lack of public infrastructure in our country. And are we okay with that? This is one of the questions, and it's not just a question for Puerto Rico. It's a question for many different areas. My family in Hinton, West Virginia, and Appalachia, we've got places all across our country where folks, regardless of political party, regardless of race, are dealing with poor infrastructure. And will this new infrastructure bill be something that can be used to address the U.S. citizens not having access to power in Puerto Rico? So there's a lot of layers here,
man. And then James, look, man, if we talking about power grids and getting some electricity up after the storms, man, I know some brothers. I know plenty of brothers who get power up after every hurricane down in South Florida around here. These white boys out here taking a whole island, taking in. Man, I think we might need to get into a new business, brother.
You terrible. I'm good.
You said you're not gonna climb. You ain't climbing up on no. You ain't climbing up on no post.
Nothing with no static shock in it. I'm good.
No, not us. But not us. But man, I know some of these country boys, man. Some of these country boys out here that would get this work done. And ain't no power grid going out because of no hurricane. And it's the incompetence of it. It's the fact that these guys have more power outages every day. It's a level of incompetence that we would not allow in anywhere. But yet they are awarded a contract to the tune of what they said, upwards of $10 billion if they get what they're asking. It's like, my God. Pastor Galloway, with the few minutes that we have left, I want to shift gears to that story that we were talking about from first. So it has some overlap from 1 Samuel. It's our daily dose of misinformation. And in this particular clip, it's discussing the church's role in picking political leaders, but obviously the argument is going to be like, what church and what type of political leader? Let's take a listen into this clip.
This is insane. This is beyond insane at this point. These people need to be arrested. I mean, for violating the Constitution so blatantly. And I think that the parents of this country, I think they should just say enough and go literally sit at the school.
It's interesting that the spiritual people were the ones who went out and recruited the good trees in the field and said, hey, you need to be civil leaders. I can't guarantee you'll win, but you need to be on the ballot and we'll see what the people choose. And that's what Moses did. He became a recruiter. It's interesting that when you look at the next leader over Israel, actually generations later, when you look when Saul became king, who chose Saul king? It was the prophet Samuel, because God spoke to him, spoke in his heart and said, this is the guy that needs to be your ruler. See, it wasn't the people with secular thinking that said, that's your ruler. It was a spiritual leader who could discern the hearts and could hear from God and say, hey, this is what we need.
Pastor Galloway, here's the thing. One, this is if I'm not mistaken, this is a politician, right? David. And, but just do what you do.
So, and again, my goal here is to complicate it because these need to be taken in context. You can't just kind of pluck and choose, right? We forget that earlier on in 1 Samuel in chapter 8, Samuel goes to God and is like, yo, they want a king and they rebuking me. They're rebuking my guidance and stuff like that. And I'm connecting with you. And God turns around and tells Samuel, he says, listen, the voice of the people and all that they say to you, for they have not rejected you, but they have rejected me from being king over them. So if we want to have a fuller story, this story begins with Samuel talking to God and God coming about and saying, a king, this is what a king means for you. If you want to go down that route, then these are all the consequences.
So what you're saying is his exegesis is incomplete. He's proof texting here. He's just picking and plucking a particular text that benefits him.
And that's the challenge, right? That's the challenge for folks who are really going to dive into scriptures. Is you can't just pull out one that serves your own purpose and ignore the others. We have to sit in that tension. And the tension here is going to have us sit back and go, and there are consequences for going into the type of leadership that doesn't have God as sole lead. And this is within this religious context, right? This is different for somebody with a different religious context. So we're really just talking about Christian space here. And so to use and say that, is one thing. Now, the point that he's trying to pull out of there, and there's other scriptures that I actually think would prove his point a little bit better if he wanted to go that route. the overarching idea in the selection, right? The idea is that it should be Christian folks, right, that select the leaders. Is inherently problematic for a whole lot of different reasons, and this idea that it's not that there isn't secular selection of powerful leaders. The will of the people had been taken into account. The will of the people was taken into account even going and acknowledging kings in the first place. So this idea that there's only one group of folks that are best suited to make these selections, it raises some other questions that should be problematic for folks as well. Again, just to complicate it, because we're supposed to what? Chew on this wisdom, because wisdom is more precious than rubies if you're going to take our wisdom books into account. So let's be careful how we pick and choose, what backs our arguments.
Man, did our hearts not burn within as we traveled along the way? It's been a good morning, man. Pastor Galloway, Fridays with you are always enriching. Tell the people how they can get up with you and support whatever it is you have going on right now.
You can definitely go to St. Mark AME Church, Duluth, Minnesota, and support there, where we have regular conversations trying to put some fat on our heads, and go in the wisdom states, but also put Georgia Ford. Go to georgiaford.com and support the work of this independent journalist. She is doing amazing work, and we are coming up on the coverage of the Potter trial. This is the officer who shot Dante Wright, and that is going to be a prelude. That is going to be followed in short order by the trial of the other officers in the George Floyd killing. So there's a lot of work. Georgia's work is going to need your support to get some really good on the ground stories out.
I see. We're going to have to compete to see who's going to be Georgia's biggest supporter. But today you got it.
You don't want that. Yes. You don't want that smoke.
I don't want that smoke. Well, let's see. I think that's a good smoke for us to have. You got home field advantage. I don't know, man. I might have to recruit her down here to Georgia. That's it, man. Hey, there it is, Georgia. Let's get out of here. DJ Exclusive, take us to a break. When we come back, Rebecca Azor is finally with us from her excursion. We'll be back with Like It or Not after this. Hey, I'm messing.
Yes, don't do sister like that. Good morning again, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Like It or Not is starting up next, y'all. Good morning, everybody.
I'll put on a tight show. You sure you can handle? We be faster than Django.
So salty, I still think about it.
We can take my Lambo. I'll put on a tight show. You sure you can handle? We be faster than Django.
Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop.
Sylvia Jones, happy Friday to you as well.
Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop.
So salty.
You sure you can handle? Okay. We can take my Lambo. I'll put on a tight show. You sure you can handle? We be faster than Django.
Right, B. I like this one too. All right, real quick, y'all. We're gonna get our new patrons off. I haven't read these in a minute, so we're gonna get caught up real quick. New patrons. We have Anastasia B. Anastasia, Impressa, and TL. New Twip subscribers. We have Samuel in the Car Dragon. We get the subscription this Wayne. I said that wrong. And Tiger Katsune, what's going on, Tiger? Resubscribe is coming in 9 months. It's a whole baby. What up, Tiger? Other new Twitch subscribers, we have Chicken Fried Dragon, Old School Hype, gifted 5 community subscriptions. I don't want to play that one again. That's what I want to play. Old School Hype gifted 5 community subscriptions. Old School Hype resubscribed, and they've been subscribed for 2 months already. Blue Daddy 2 resubscribed with Prime. Agnostic Sister gifted a subscription to Jamilton Kenner 1. Siscat, good morning, Siscat, gifted a community subscription. Postal Witch resubscribed Steve Boys 007 resubscribe. Lime Green Skittles resubscribe 1 month. And Dr. B-Win rated with 22 viewers. Agnostic Sister cheered 100 bits. Hell Grunt Dragon cheered 1 bit. And Deco cheered 10 bits, y'all. If y'all have not already, patreon.com/likeitordnot. Patreon.com/likeitordnot. Become a member today. And we have a patron party tonight, 9 o'clock until. Make sure that you have your face in the place, y'all. Patron party tonight, 9 a.m. Y'all see me fumbling because I got like 1,000 voices in my head. So it's hard to talk and listen and do all that at the same time, okay? So good morning, everybody. Y'all stay tuned. Patron party tonight. Make sure that you are there. And we'll get it in. Yep, Savage Sweetheart, 9 p.m. Shay, what's going on, Shay? On and on it goes. Good morning. Peter Griffin, She-Hulk does not come out yet. Is it? Does it? If it is, let me know so I can go ahead and jump my ass over there because I'm about to be watching Shang-Chi in a few minutes as soon as this is. So Shang-Chi all day today. All the IMAX that I can get today. Let's see. Everything is in IMAX. So, yeah, I'm going to be all. Y'all gotta understand, it's like 1,000 of y'all talking at one time. I can't hear a damn thing y'all saying. So unless y'all say Bubba, I don't know if y'all ready to go. I don't know what the hell y'all doing back there. Tractor Tasha, good morning. Oh, the trailer! Peter Griffin, is it out? If it is, send that. Drop that in the chat. Okay. Kareem Ransom, good morning. On and on it goes. I don't know which cables you want me to check. Everything is hardwired in this damn thing like mud. Sassy Jazzy, what's going on, sister? I'm looking forward to seeing everybody tonight, man. Make sure that y'all have y'all asses there, please. Reeling in. I know. Tyler Hackman, what's going on, Tyler? XOXX Bob, what's going on, Bob? Roll the Dragon. That is a great damn idea. Man, that's kind of cool. I wonder if they could.
Do you mind to quit your pretending? Truth or false, the shit never ending. Hear me now and stop condescending. You see, I'm begging you, hear me, baby. If you seek for love, don't try to hide it. Find it deep inside and try to hide it. If there's a way, I wanna know we tried it. Quit your games and now
that is not the chords, people. That is just the volume of the microphone. Because you have to adjust so much in so many places. That's probably why it's like that. God damn it, it's not the microphone! Not y'all.
It could feel so good.
Peter Griffin, they should be on both channels, so you'll see the patron party on both.
Y'all know what time it is.
Hell no. That's the chord.
Get your coffee and tea.
I'm aggravated. Leave me the hell alone. Listen to this goddamn song.
Like it or not, y'all. 9 a.m. to 10:30, yeah. Like it or not is on your channel, yeah. Politics and culture ish, we change skin like we supposed to, yeah. Interviews and all the news, we get to choose what gets the views. Like it or not, with Queen Azor, it started.
Lily, no,
so
not Lily.
Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Rebecca Azor is coming through. You know she got a good story for you. Oh, Benjamin, that's my dog. This is his show.
KMZ is pouring hot wax on his chest. FYI, everybody.
Bro, I am your DJ. DJ exclusive. Y'all know who I am. I stay dropping them jams. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, like it or not, it started now. Like it or not, it's about to go down.
No, this what the if y'all get. Y'all should have goddamn been ready on time. Shit.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Who gonna say it?
Good morning. Oh shoot.
So, go ahead. You said good morning. Good morning.
Oh, he did his part. I didn't do my part.
Yeah.
Good morning and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth
and not care who doesn't like it. But I didn't like the way he said good morning, good morning, good morning. It didn't have the energy, the strength.
Rebecca, all things considered.
Rebecca,
but no,
you shut the hell up and go on with this goddamn show today.
Oh,
leave me alone.
No, so what I was gonna say was that I didn't like that energy. I wanted to know what's going on so that we can recharge it.
And I want to poke it.
Ben, hold on. I haven't been here for 2 shows. I just wanted to say I wanted that energy for all of us. So Bubba, let's clear it up. In the background, we were having technical difficulties, so we were trying to figure that out. It wasn't that we were trying to keep you on screen for 90 hours because I want to hear you spin. You know, I want to hear you spin. What was the problem?
She is not that. But you've been having to. There was our morning girl. You just came in on the end of it. So I don't want to hear none of that. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
There we go. So you were upset for the whole morning, but I'm here now. We could definitely.
Oh man,
we could take it to the club. We could take it to Magic City. We could. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just.
One thing I am happy about though is now I can see y'all moving on the screen at least. So that makes me happy. Thank you. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
Well, they're logical.
Except being, of course, Rebecca.
Listen,
I got in with him. I'm like, so we're doing this again. we're gonna not be on screen. So okay, it's fine.
Y'all know I'm hanging on by the blood of Jesus and some of the best. Anyway, what's on the docket this morning? Rebecca, tell us about where have you been? You got a story for us?
Gotta serve. Yeah, no. I have been. It was crazy. So I was trying to work and get ready for this show on, was it Wednesday morning? But my baby boy, my son, no, he's my nephew, but he actually the next day was going to graduate his basic training from the Army. And he's never been away from home. And so we, he wanted his family to be there. And I missed when he even went to Oklahoma, Lawton, Oklahoma, where there's nothing there. Nothing there.
That was an experience.
They don't need any American flags. So you just step into Lawton, Oklahoma, and you feel like you're going to get a bullet to the head. That's what it feels like.
That escalated quickly.
No. But I can't lie. Oklahoma is beautiful.
Like she was gonna say we get some Huskers, some corn, or something. She said get a bullet to the head.
No. But the black men that I did, let me tell you this. But the black men that I did see over there, they fine.
Child, that's the country, ain't it?
Yeah, they fine. They fine.
Rebecca,
get you a farmer.
They're beautiful men out there. We should. We should. Okay. But my nephew, he really.
But how many of them are there? Like 3?
All 3 of them was fine. And
that's
so
fine. That's cool.
But my nephew,
are in their favor. My God, today. All right.
My nephew was very excited to have us there. We surprised him, and because we are Haitian, here's the story. We pulled up to the damn Army base, child. Look, he told us an hour before it started because he knew, but he didn't know that all of us were there. So now we were staying in a little cottage because over there they have a lot of cottages. So it's like a 3-bedroom, but it's just like small. 1 bathroom. So it's like 95 Haitians packed into a home. And nothing new. But all of us in this damn home, and everybody's trying to do their eyebrows, do their lashes, make sure they dreads looking good. I'm like, excuse me. Y'all could have woke up earlier for this. But anyways, long story short, we pull up to the damn base. We're like the only other four Black families there, and everybody else is white, and they're all looking at us like, why are these people here? Because we coming out with high heels, we coming out with red lips, we coming out like, where is he? Is he over here? Just yelling. Then he sees us and he's like, yeah.
What are they?
What happened?
They're all what? What color are they?
They're white. So
wait, why are you saying like that?
Because you know what I mean when I say white.
Quite interesting.
You're not only white, they're white. So, but he finally sees us, he's embarrassed, and then a commander that he doesn't even know because he sees us, a Black family being extra. That's my boy. That's mine. Mind you, graduation is over, so that time has came and gone, but we were doing it anyway.
Please hold your applause till every name has been read.
Oh,
here you go.
So since we missed that, we were like, "That's mine. That's mine. Yes, it is." Yeah, he has to make sure he doesn't smile. It's like they make him really cold. But Army sergeant that doesn't even know him goes, "Make sure you put your phone away now. Boy, I'm talking to you." My sister was like, "Who are you talking to? I was like, we can't do that. We can't do that here. Oh my God, we can't. But I'm like, did he just call him boy? Excuse me. I was like, we was getting real crazy. But then we're like, calm down. He's like, Tati, please, like, you're embarrassing me. Like, stop. I'm like, okay, we're not gonna do that. But
yeah, no, that triggered the same response in me over here. I was like, what? They call him what?
And he said, I didn't even know that. He said, that man, I never seen that man in my life. Then I don't know why he called me over as I was walking to my family, but it got all weird. But anyways, I say this to say I am proud of him anyway. Yesterday was his birthday as well. He was born on 11/11, which was Veterans Day as well. I said, I guess it's all aligning for you. You're supposed to be a veteran. So here you are doing your thing. And I love you for it. And what's crazy is I don't like that, he had to think about going in there because he wants to benefit. He wants the benefits for the rest of his life. Basically to know that he's covered, and if something were to happen to him, his family would be okay, that kind of thing. And he's just a baby, but for him to have to think like that and want to join the Army, but him joining the Army made him start redirecting his focus and saying, you know what, I want to be here because I want to serve. I want to be here because I know that I have opportunity, things like that. But it said that him having to go in there, his idea of, what made him want to go in was saying, I want to make sure my mom is okay. I want to make sure, those kind of things. But I love my baby boy, man. I love him. Shout out Dada. His name is Iverson, but I call him
You call him Dada?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we used to call my dad, Dada. Interesting. Hey, salute to him and congratulations, because that is an achievement. That's definitely an achievement.
Yes.
And I know he's got some fascinating stories to tell about his time in Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the stories that we already heard were crazy. They can't even leave. They can't even leave the baseball.
He probably changing the country women's lives over there. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, he got a girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
And I mean,
Sorry.
plus, all they
Black
doing
men
is
don't
basic
cheat.
training. He probably ain't had time to do anything anyway.
Yeah.
He had time to do nothing
that's all
anyway.
basic training. I'm sorry. Basic training, he ain't seen nothing but mud. That's all he saw. That's all he saw. That's even bigger of an achievement, man. So congratulations to him. And Rebecca, one thing you said that really, as I'm listening to it, it's kind of hard. It's because, and I know you felt this as you sat there. Like, you look at it and you say this American empire, and then you see it's a way for your nephew to take care of his family.
Yeah.
And how many times have Black people had to make that decision across history?
Yeah. Oh, the one thing that he did say, and we'll get to the stories, he did say, Tati, it's crazy because he speaks so well. And I remember when he first came here, he couldn't even speak English. But he says to me, he's like, they are. And I'm like, what does this mean? What you doing? And then he's like, oh, wrong color. They're those people. They are racist. And he's like, you told me about this since I was a little thing because I was instilling in him. When you go somewhere.
See, that's why they don't want you to teach no critical race theory.
Exactly. But I was telling him to be careful. When you're somewhere, you got to be mindful of how you act. And I hate that I have to tell you that now. But you got, especially when it's it's more of them against you. Everything you do is going to be an issue. Look how he just was walking up to his Black family. It was an issue. So, but he was telling me everything that I do is like they are pushing me 10 times harder. I feel like I'm working just a little bit harder. They are racist out here. Everyone is racist out here. I feel that's what he feels like everybody is racist. And especially me being an immigrant, they're like, where's your accent from, bro? Like, what would he like, but, he's I hate that he has to be strong through it. But, I don't know, guys, but I just love him and I support him in everything he does. And I hope that he makes it out and he comes back to buy the building or some stuff like that.
But I do want to say this, though, a general blessing to all the people who have had to make the decision to sustain their lives by going to serve in the military.
And shout out to all of our veterans.
Shout out to all of you guys and women, non-gender conforming, and everybody who's doing that because, we see you and we see the sacrifice that you have to make. And this is not any old God bless America stuff. This is you got to feed your kids. I feel that. Yeah. So, and he ain't even got kids yet to be thinking like that. So he's worried about his mama. But when he does, but the world is a crazy place for people who are Black and who want to do things like join the army. And as we know, do things like ride a bike, sleep in their car, and go running. Right. So Ahmaud Arbery, this is another trial that we've been following closely. And just to know that even in this trial, even while the man has been murdered and he's in his grave, they are still disrespecting his name and treating him as a thing instead of a person. And so let's take a look at where we are with the trial thus far.
In this case, all three of these defendants did everything they did based on assumptions.
Satilla Shores is a quiet, scenic, middle-class neighborhood. The kind of neighborhood where parents let the kids ride around on their bikes. This is the family and community that Travis McMichael felt a duty and responsibility to, made him willing to put himself at risk to help the police detain Ahmaud Arbery. Because Satilla Shores was a neighborhood on edge. Crime had gone up.
In Brunswick, Georgia, the trial of Gregory and Travis McMichael and William Roddy Bryan in the death of Ahmaud Arbery is set to enter its 5th day. The chief investigator of the case testified that Bryan told him he tried to cut Arbery off with his truck, saying he wished he could have hit him because if he did, maybe Arbery would not have been shot.
When I turned around, he took off running into the house.
Travis McMichael calling police days before the fatal encounter with Ahmaud Arbery, reporting that he sees a man in a house under construction in his neighborhood.
What did he look like?
It's a black male, red shirt, white shorts. When I turned around and saw him and backed up, he reached into his pocket and ran into the house. So I don't know if he's armed or not.
Earlier, jurors heard an emergency call by defendant Gregory McMichael, reporting a suspicious person months before his son's call.
We just went up there and made contact with a real shady-looking fella. And he, possibility he may be the one that's been breaking into all these automobiles out there at night.
Arbery's parents say they remain hopeful.
The tapes make the McMichaels sound like they're responsible citizens reporting crimes. It has emerged that Arbery was in that neighborhood on at least 4 different occasions at night, caught on home security video. And there's not yet been a really good explanation for why that is the case. The prosecutors are going to try and show that the McMichaels and Bryan overreacted and pursued Arbery because he was African American.
Simply because he was African American. This is all we need to know. I don't know why we move further with the BS of the other people. We give, I feel like in these cases, in this particular case, we'll talk about since we're on it and we will follow up with the other ones. But in this particular case, we see a pattern, and that's basically to mute and silence, which has already been done now. Arbery has been silenced. He's murdered. And everything, all the evidence against him is speaking, right? And people are speaking about the character of Arbery. But what these people want to do is make sure, which is their duty, but is to make sure that none of that sticks, none of that stands, and for us to have sympathy with his murderers. And this is where my problem lies. It's like, even here, even in this particular moment, there is nothing that I hear that can make me say, oh, that's right. In a home under construction, ain't nobody living now. Nobody living there. Ain't nothing to steal. Ain't nothing to take.
And y'all expect this self-defense crap after all the video that everybody has seen. Y'all are going to try that. Y'all going to try that BS. And they're just going to try to sell it as much as they possibly can. No. Hell no. Not going to happen.
Or will it? And that's the problem. I hate that we look at it.
Jesus.
We know that it won't happen, right? And we know how can this happen? We see it right before our eyes. We see that somebody's life was taken. We're watching this on video as 2 men harass a jogger who happens to stop into a home under construction. Under construction. Is somebody living there? Is somebody under attack? Is there an alarm system? What he gonna steal a log? Like what are we doing here?
Right.
What's happening? What is such a threat here to you?
PVC
it's a Zimmerman.
piping.
Yeah, it's a Zimmerman moment all over again. It's people who are, abusing authority that nobody gave them. Like who told you to come around here and be a cop? Who told you to come around here and come in and save the community? Do you even know who your neighbors are? Did you even know that he was living somewhere in the area? Did you know that? If you're such about community, you would have known this. If that was your duty and job to go around and make sure every home is safe and make sure everyone is okay, you would have known that. It's because of the color of his skin. And that's the case. And they need to stick to it. But as we know, with these things, they got to make it over dramatic. They got to make sure that, it's less black and more white, because white is unbiased. The systemic way is unbiased. And we know that's drenched in white supremacy, right? Anywho, as we move forward with this case, even the defense, like I said, white is right. Anything black is a problem. So they didn't even want the idea of black pastors being brought into the courtroom. And the black pastor that they're referring to is Al Sharpton. Let's take a listen on what the defense had to say about that.
My understanding, while I was cross-examining Investigator Lowry yesterday, is that the Right Reverend Al Sharpton managed to find his way into the back of the courtroom. I'm guessing he was somehow there at the invitation of the victim's family in this case. And I have nothing personally against Mr. Sharpton. My concern is that it's one thing for the family to be present. It's another thing to ask for the lawyers to be present. But if we're going to start a precedent starting yesterday, we're going to bring high-profile members of the African-American community into the courtroom to sit with the family during the trial in the presence of the jury, I believe that's intimidating, and it's an attempt to pressure, could be consciously or unconsciously, an attempt to pressure or influence the jury. To my knowledge, Reverend Al Sharpton has no church in Blaine County, never has. Hasn't been here since Elaine Brown ran for mayor, to my knowledge. The idea that we're going to be serially bringing these people in to sit with the victim's family one after another, obviously there's only so many pastors they can have. And if their pastor's Al Sharpton right now, that's fine, but then that's it. We don't want any more black pastors coming in here, or other, Jesse Jackson, whoever was in here earlier this week, sitting with the victim's family, trying to influence a jury in this case. I think the court can understand my concern about bringing people in who really don't have any ties to this case other than political interests.
This old frumpy looking redneck half-baked, he really went all the way back to A Time to Kill. He went full 1950s black and white races. We don't want no more of these type of folks coming in, these black pastors.
Black pastors.
Black pastors.
Black
these
pastors.
folks. And he said, he generalized, he said, Jesse Jackson. I couldn't tell if it was Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson. He was colored is all I could tell you.
Listen, that's exactly what he said, Ben. Look, and it made us all cringe because we're like, did he really just say that? Yes, he did. It made everybody cringe. Not only did us, she jumped out of her white skin. All I saw was skeleton right there. She said, am I hearing this right? This is embarrassing. Did he just say that? Wow.
Oh yeah, she was embarrassed.
Let me get it together. She was embarrassed as hell.
She said, I'm about to be famous.
She said, and not for the right reasons, but she's like, here I am next to this man. I work with this. And these are the moments that I be saying, like, this is the time, baby. If something is shooting up in your bones to say, see, I can't stand for that. I'm not doing this with you. We're not doing that. I need those moments, right? That's how I know you a real one. But to hear the ridiculous, right? You see how ridiculous this man sounds? Absolutely not. For you to say that this is going to make the case shift somewhere because we got the presence of black pastors. And then he said, if it's your pastor, it has to be you can't have more than one pastor. If you go into the church, you shouldn't be church hopping. Right? You shouldn't be church hopping. Mm-hmm. It got to be one pastor. And I don't even know what kind of black that pastor is. One got a perm, one got a ponytail or not. One is, I don't really know, but they all black.
Jesus.
We don't need black, but what we can do is have other religious leaders undercover here that may be, they're white, and that's all right, because we need the white Jesus presence, but we cannot have that black. Nothing black in this particular case. We don't want any of it. We don't want or need any of it. That doesn't, and he's saying that blatantly. Why are we not like? Why is this a thing? Ben, Bubba, why is this a thing? Like I need answers.
Oh no, it pisses me off though. It's real talk because that's just it's stupid. And you got people in the chat talking about if Ahmaud Arbery would have stayed out of somebody's house, still be alive. Man, look, I don't play that shit around here, bro. That's dead ass real. No, I'm trying not to cuss, but being I know your mama but I don't give a damn. Purpose. They there on purpose. Look, man, don't worry y'all not gonna disrespect anything black around here, and that's effing real.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. Bro, pull up East Point, Georgia. If I need to get an address, pull the hell up on me.
Don't get the address. Don't get the address. I need Bubba to be the address. Don't get the address. No, I feel you on that. It is frustrating though, Ben. It's like those trolls in our comment section are the same ones who are having the conversations or who are owning these conversations. Those trolls are the ones.
I get joy out of the fact that their lives are so miserable. They have to come to our comment section to find fulfillment.
But they're the ones that mirror this defense attorney here. Yes. They literally, that's what it's so sad that this is our representation. These are the insurrectionists. That's what y'all like to call them. These are our terrorists, our local terrorists. Okay. And they're the ones who are defending these people and getting them off. these are the same people who were at the Capitol on January 6th. It's a dangerous place for us. We are speaking in 2021 on a Friday where we should be enjoying our lives too. But here we are discussing just one case, and we got 2 more to follow up on where it's very similar, where nothing will ever. It's like they don't want justice for us and they make it so much harder. I've never seen cases with them other people, right? The clear folks, the white people, the Karens, the Kins. I've never seen their cases be as ridiculous and ask the most ridiculous questions. Look at it. We're watching a whole terrible acting scene play its course in the media. Ain't not one droplet dropped from that man's eye. Not one. And here we are watching a judge say, oh my God. Oh, no, you will not say that to him. You will not. No. Are you the defense attorney or are you the damn judge? But we're going to get to that in a minute. But that is wild. But look how it's playing out with Kyle. And look how it's playing out with the man who can't even speak.
He's dead.
My God. And it's terrible. And this is why it's so painful that we have to automatically assume that he's not going to get his justice. Because why? It's usually like that for us. We only get the furthest that we've gotten recently was accountability. Not true justice, but was accountability. And we clapped so hard for ourselves. But was that really a win? Because we're so used to not getting any justice. So that's sad. The bar is set really low for us. My God, today, tomorrow, and forevermore. It is set really low for us, especially in this system. But let's see what Al Sharpton had to say about what the damn defense attorney was running his mouth about.
Reverend Al, was he in his
He looking good lately.
It's not a time to talk about his
Now tell them they can't have the ministers of their choice to sit there and console them while they're sitting there looking at who murdered their son and their families. So now you not only have taken their son, you want to take those of us that would come and console them. Now clearly, as the judge responded, it was directed at me, because how do they know the difference between a black pastor or not? I think that clearly, because I was in the courtroom yesterday in Brunswick, Georgia, and they think that because some of the jurors looked out and appeared to recognize me, that would influence or intimidate the jury. The parents said publicly they invited me to come. I've been with them from the beginning. They have the right to be consoled by anyone. We were not being disruptive, as the judge said. But the audacity, the arrogance to say that not only are you going to have to sit there and look at your son's killers every day and their families, we're going to choose who can come and console you in the courtroom. It's like pouring salt in the wound. Oh, I'll be back. The parents invited me, as they said yesterday, and they said yesterday they wanted me to come again, and I will make it my business to come again.
And
He
I
said-
take a whole bunch of pastors with me too. Black.
That's right.
All of them.
Yeah. He said,
hell, not just pastors. Give me some of the black rabbis, some of the black imams. Give me everybody black.
Yeah,
I don't care what you worship.
why would you know that? Yeah, I could be a pastor of anything, but it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
In this point, he said a key word. He said we weren't being disruptive. He said I was with these people from the beginning, and all of a sudden it's a problem. We weren't being disruptive. Hey, your skin is a disruption. Your
Come on,
skin
somebody.
is a disruption, especially in this case. My God, Arbery's skin was a disruption.
That's right.
You know, and this is what we have to like. That's like the key thing. We can't. It's very frustrating when we watch these cases and they want us to just sit here and take it like we've done in the past, years and years and years and years and years. And we've only had conversation at the dinner table because that's where it was safe to have those type of conversations, right? To say, man, you know that man was wrong. You know that man was wrong. No, they've tried to condition us to stand in these courthouses and be mute to what's going on, not say anything about these cases because we don't know if tomorrow our tires will be flat. We'll have blood or blood paint on our door calling us NIGG hard ER, all of that. But no, this is 2021. And the best thing that Black people have right now, I would say, is more of a voice than we've ever had. Right. So we're going to utilize that. But it sucks having to see this. I got to understand the emotions. I know people are saying, don't let your emotions speak for you. Who? Just call me an owl, because who, baby? Who? Not
call me Woodsy Owl. Who? The Tootsie Owl. Who?
Listen, we're not doing that here.
I can't stand either one of y'all. How many licks, bro?
Me neither, because it was going to take away from the moment. We're not doing, but no, no, we're not doing that here.
Because I'm about to say something that's going to make the moment worse. But go ahead. Well, here's the thing that bothers me, y'all. In Brunswick, Georgia, the dead man is on trial.
Yeah,
they're talking about the type of neighborhood that he was running through, that these good God-fearing white men had to protect. They had a good God-fearing constitutional right to protect this scenic neighborhood that you could ride your bikes in. That black man had no right to be there. He's on trial in Brunswick. In Minneapolis or wherever this trial is with Kyle Rittenhouse, do you notice that the victims are not on trial? You don't even know the victims' names. You wouldn't even know that they were white. Because they can't quite put those white boys on trial the way they do in Ahmaud Arbery.
They done dug up all of Ahmaud's stuff from elementary school.
A baby.
He's whole ass on trial.
He was. They done pulled him up from when he was in his mama's womb. What was the mother? Was the mother on trial? That's exact. This is the. You see how ridiculous that is? But this is what they're doing.
This is exactly what they're doing.
It's been a year, and they're acting like he was doing something just yesterday.
No, he's dead.
He's dead. What about the living people?
He's not the one who committed the crime.
We were able on the day after we the Ahmaud Arbery's case or the story had came to social media. Social media did 6 jobs in 24 hours to find those white men and their history and who they were connected to and how it makes sense of how racist they are. They had everything, but in this case, they have nothing. And this is my problem. This is my problem, guys. As we move forward, Ben, you were talking about how in the Rittenhouse case, it's a totally different thing. The dead man is on trial in Arbery's case. And here we don't even know the names of the victims because they're white. And
because they're white.
And I say that because they're white, so there was nothing. They don't want to make it too aggressive. They did not deserve to die, y'all. They didn't deserve to die. They were fighting, for justice as well for Black folks.
That's right.
They were there, but because they're white, they don't want to make them. Also, them in their grave, they're not going to make them, more aggressive. They're not.
They're not used to doing that. They don't have the standard operating procedure of making you afraid of white people the way they have the standard operating procedure.
But what is the focus
people.
here? But what is the focus here? I wish that they would have give them victims a name. I do, because they deserve to be known.
That's right.
But in this sense, they don't want to make them seem like, these, they were a part of this whole, Klan thing that was happening, this Black Klan out there, Black Power thing. They want to make sure they keep that under wraps. And also they want to focus on what people were rallying about that day when Kyle showed up. That's what they want to focus on and show that, oh my God, this is some kind of like Black Panther situation. He was pulling up with his own, weapons because he wanted to make sure that he was secure, because it's America and white folks need to make sure they're able to tote that gun in case of any emergencies. That means in case of Black people pull up. We got him to protect the neighborhood. And yes, he did. But the thing is, he was taking pictures with folks. And when remember, he was on the streets a little after he was taking them. And all these pictures with people that he was taking, remember, smiling it up in the streets. He wasn't crying then. He was not crying then. He was a celebrity, much like Zimmerman, remember? And when we see this unfolding, you guys are telling me, or you guys, I'm talking about social media. I'm reading and there all these people. It's so easy for white people to be like, well, do you hear what the news said? Yes, I heard what the news said. I did. But there's a lot of information that is missing here, which is having Kyle Rittenhouse look like a little boy. Remember how they wanted to frame him as a child when he did it? Yep. Remember that? And what I saw was a man sitting there with no tears in his eyes, And I recalled the moments when everybody was just like, he's a hero. He's an American hero. Remember those? Those cops were looking at him as a hero. And because he looked at those cops as heroes too, it was giving him an upper hand. So what he did was he was just having a bad day.
Well, God damn it.
Just having a bad day.
Well, damn, for those people who didn't just connect that, I'm sorry, I haven't been with us long enough to understand. She's talking about the ATL spy shooting, where now the next excuse was not only is this man so guilty, the man, this iteration of white male terror was just having a bad day.
So let's take a look. Let's take a look. If we need a breather, we can take it. But I want to ride this thing through. Let's take a look at the final witness in this case.
The defense rested today in the murder trial of Kyle Rittenhouse. Closing arguments set for Monday. The defense's final witness was this man, Frank Hernandez. He recorded video of the first deadly shooting of Joseph Rosenbaum. Hernandez says he traveled the country last summer recording violent protests, and that's why he was in Kenosha. On that deadly night, he says he recorded Rosenbaum pushing around a flaming dumpster. See here? Hernandez says Rosenbaum became aggressive and confronted a group of men who came to the protest with assault-style rifles, just as Rittenhouse did. That's Rosenbaum there in the maroon shirt. Then later, he claims, he saw Rosenbaum charge at Rittenhouse from behind and lunge at him before Rittenhouse wheeled around and opened fire. Hernandez said Rosenbaum was the aggressor that night, not Rittenhouse. This is drone video of the Rosenbaum shooting. You can see him run up to Rittenhouse. Rittenhouse wheels around and opens fire. Right there. Shoots him 4 times, we're told. The last shot in the back, according to testimony. When the prosecution got their chance to cross-examine Hernandez, they questioned his credibility.
Prosecutors tried repeatedly to paint Hernandez as being biased. They even focused on the video that he shot, saying that he made disparaging remarks. Then they zeroed in on his social media accounts.
Your videos that you have captured of these incidents that you call riots, they're very slanted against the people who are rioting. You characterize them as Antifa, Black Lives Matter rioters, correct?
Because they are rioting in the footage, yes, absolutely.
Have you ever posted anything on social media?
Yes.
In support of Kyle Rittenhouse?
One could argue yes.
I like that. Boy. One could argue yes. But you guys, full on. It's funny. It's funny because it's not funny, but it's interesting that, the video shows, they're going to show that part of the video where it looks like it's self-defense. Amen. Mm-hmm. And so that tied with the witness saying that he follows violent protest. So it's going to tie into also Rittenhouse saying that he wanted to go save the community. All that ties in with each other, which could possibly let this little murderer back on the streets for free. We see what happened with Zimmerman for free. And this sucks because this video is what's going to be shown so much. The conversation as soon as this video came out, social media was up in arms. Those white people, those right people, they were literally up there saying it was, if we see it was self-defense, those people ran up on him. Or it could have been, and I'm going to tell you this much. That's the conversation. But there was a guy and his name is E. Mackey. And he got into his car from Atlanta, drove over to Kenosha and said, he was following what was going on there. And right when this happened, he said he saw with his gun, Rittenhouse with his gun, and he was taking pictures. He was doing what that guy did, following a protest, though. He was following the protest, not a violent protest, not something that was meant to go hurt people. He was going out there to go document what was happening, to show what these, Black people are feeling, the rage, about our system here. And he said right before that moment, that boy walked around him with the gun. So he said he had to go make sure he go get his, because a white man walking around with a gun in this type of environment means our lives are in danger. So of course, I believe that those black people saw that white man with the gun and wanted to go stop him because they knew what could happen. What do we see lately, guys? White men with gun. They're the ones, the leaders of mass shooters out here in America.
Can I just point out something really critical here? Rest in power to that young soul, that warrior right there. That man ain't have no gun. Kyle, are you such a cuck? Are you such a cowardly little cuck that you had to gun down that small man, because he looked about my height. You gunned down that small man who was chasing you, but you had the gun, he did not. You poor little cowardly little cuck. Shame. So white supremacy is kind of pathetic, if you ask me.
It is pathetic. Not kind of. Man, that thing is pathetic as hell. But for some reason, we know it's always going to win here. It's always going to win here. I can't wait to see, and I pray that it's in my lifetime.
Can't win without the system being rigged.
No,
yo, when I tell you, look, we must be doing some shit right today, because when I tell y'all they is in here today, they is in here. On
what time is it? Let's take it to the after party.
The key
word. You know what? No. We're gonna keep it. No, let's.
No, we're gonna keep it live.
David, you make the call.
We're gonna keep it live.
Because if I get to cussing, y'all know I'll be now. It'll turn into a whole Bernie Mac episode in here.
It's all right. I'm just gonna let
it's already too late for that. I already did that.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll keep it live because there's one more story I want to cover who has gone under the radar. And I told you I want to follow this thing all the way through.
Flesh it out,
because it's one thing that we're showing here. Black people don't get justice. Now, not only do black people not get justice, the black woman, her story will go unnoticed. It will be the biggest thing. Breonna Taylor was the biggest thing, my God, today, along with George Floyd. Nothing. Everybody knows Daniel Cameron because of that case. Nothing. But the updates on Breonna Taylor, the cop, is appealing to get his job back. After, this is the cop, one of his bullets don't win her body, is now appealing to get his job back. Now, remember, we were fighting for justice for Breonna Taylor. My God, I am so sorry that you are not here today, Breonna Taylor. I am so sorry that it seems like we've stopped fighting, Breonna. I am so sorry. But Jesus, like that pains me. That just puts some kind of pain in me that's just unspeakable. I hate that. But the former detective, Miles Cosgrove, remember we were saying their names? We were even saying the cops' names so much. Miles Cosgrove, who shot a Taylor, he's now fighting and appealing to get his job back. Let's take a look.
One of the Louisville Metro Police Department officers involved in the killing of Breonna Taylor is fighting to get his job back. Detective Miles Cosgrove and his attorney began an appeal Tuesday with the Louisville Metro Police Merit Board, and according to local news station WFPL, the board can either uphold the original termination passed down in January or overturn the ruling and issue new punishment. WFPL also says that an FBI ballistics report shows 2 of Cosgrove's rounds struck and killed Taylor in March of 2020.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Watching that really, it hurts me, y'all.
Yeah.
It really hurts me because, Black people already get nothing. We don't get the short end of the stick. We don't get the long end. We get nothing.
Nothing.
Not a thing. We get nothing in this country. And if you don't like when this is my disclaimer. If y'all don't like it when I speak about the disparities, us lacking and not getting anything in this country and having to fight for stuff and, all that stuff, please remove yourself from the channel because I'm going to go hard. We get nothing. White folks, white Latinos, all, Asians may get just a little bit at the bottom piece. Hispanics may get a little something. Black folks get nothing, even if your lineage, like you say, Ben, goes way beyond those of many white people in this country.
Damn near all of them.
Mm-hmm.
We get most white people in this country have only been here for 3 generations. I can go back 6.
Mm-hmm. We get nothing. And to know that when a black man is killed, we're finally being able to say something and at least get some media coverage over it. When a black woman is killed, I'm talking about we had everything. Breonna Taylor was the face of Oprah's magazine. She was painted on the ground. Breonna Taylor was right up there. We were making sure we fought for both Breonna Taylor and George Floyd just as hard. But Breonna Taylor seemed to slip out of nothing was said anymore. Nothing. The case was still in motion, but nothing was said anymore. It's something about black women going through the same thing. And it's like, nah, this is it. I hate that those cops are getting away with what they did. I hate that. Daniel Cameron, who could have said, done something, is at the forefront of what happened. I hate that one of the leaders, and I'm forgetting his name, which I wanted to cover, who led the charge, is actually behind bars and looking at so much time just for leading the charge to get Breonna Taylor justice.
He's going to possibly spend time in jail for fighting for justice, and the cops who killed Breonna trying to get their job back. Justice in America is what they could justify. And so long as they could justify killing us, that's what they call justice.
I don't know how to feel about this because it's like the cop is saying, yeah, I done shot somebody. Okay. And it was big news and all that stuff, but I'm trying to be a cop again. Put me back in. Tap me in, coach, so I can go do this again, so I could possibly do this again. I got blood on my hands. That ain't nothing. It was a black person. It was a black woman at that. Yeah. So let's put me back in, coach. Put me back in, coach. I think his name was Grandmaster Jay. Grandmaster Jay, I believe. Yeah. And he was the one who led the charge, and now he is facing some time, a lot of time, because he led this charge in
that's because
Louisville.
Buildings have more value than black lives in this country.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Shame on Louisville, Kentucky.
Somebody said something good in the chat. Yeah, we get something, we get killed.
Let me say this real quick, especially about the Rebecca. You said something brilliant. You said if we ain't got nothing else, though, what we got is the ability to use our voice. And damn thing those fools in the chat rooms on chat room can do to stop us from saying the truth. And that's why they're here. Right. They're so upset because in maybe it's the smallest corner of the internet right now, but the truth is being said, and it burns them. It irritates them so much. They're so pissed off right now that the truth is being spoken that they have found their way to our comment section. So I enjoy their suffering because they have placed their joy on our suffering. These people in these comment sections, the people, this entire American empire, people like Daniel Cameron, who needs to go and check into the La Quinta Hotel, right? The La Quinta Inn, whatever it was. Like all of these people, they have based their profit, their career aspiration. That cop wants to come. He wants to be put back in. You're right, because he got to do it again. And it's all based on what they can get away with. If they can get away with killing us, well, they're more than happy to try.
Yeah. Yeah. And they'll take away the life of somebody. Listen, they took her life away. This is in my best friend. She lives in Louisville, Kentucky. So don't kill me for pronouncing it this way. But in Louisville, Kentucky, the leader and who we're just speaking, Grandmaster Jay, he was indicted and charged with standing on a rooftop, because remember at that time, they were all protecting homes. They were protected at the time in Louisville, Kentucky. They were pulling up at Daniel Cameron's house, sitting out there like, we're going to stay out here until you come out and do something. You know, remember, they were, they were protecting the people who were protesting. They were making sure that you're going to protest, we'll walk around you guys because we're licensed to carry, you know? And so they were doing that. They were protecting them. They were letting their voices be heard without others like Kyle Rittenhouse's pulling up. They were making sure.
Oh, Grandmaster Jay from the NFAC.
Yes.
The effing around crew. Yeah, I'm with you now. Okay.
So he's on top of the roof out there, and he didn't know that he was pointing his guns at officers. They were undercover. They were, you remember, they were not, a lot of them were not dressed. They were pulling up
snatching people off
in
the streets.
disguise. Yeah, they were pulling up in disguise.
Unlocked vehicles.
Yes. And acting like they were a part of these marches. But no, yeah, those were the things that were going on. They were undercover cops in those moments. So anywho, he points them out, and then he never shot them. He never did anything. He just pointed them at them. And so now they're pressing that. They're saying because he pointed his gun at the feds and officers, he's facing about over 20 years, I think a maximum of 27 years for the federal charges in jail, 3 years in prison, and a maximum of 27 years for the federal charges. And this is why I say they want to make sure that they take away his whole life. They don't want this back on the streets. When we go back down to Fred Hampton and we see how they did him, even, what's her name? Was it Billie Holiday that we just watched the story of? We watched how even they did not want her to sing that song. So the feds got involved, and they made sure that, she, even on her dying day, that her last days would be remembered as her being a drug addict and somebody who was trying to cause mischief and cause separation, and had her legs on her dying days, her legs chained to the bed. This is what they do. This is his story. This is back in history. They done shot up Fred. They made sure they silenced him
in front of his pregnant wife.
Uh-huh.
And then with the black woman, they wanted to remove her whole history for us to remember her as somebody who was a jazz singer, somebody who made a difference in her music. They belittled her as much as they can. And they didn't want us to know. And a lot of people, including me, didn't know that she was chained to a bed.
Well, hell, I didn't know.
And they want to say it's alleged. Nah.
Grandmaster Jay, alleged. There's more. This man is going to potentially spend time in jail for inadvertently pointing his properly licensed weapon at undercover officers who were on the ground below. The absurdity of it. And this little cuck of a boy, of a man, Kyle Rittenhouse, probably won't be found guilty because he was too scared running from that short brother. Looked like he was my height. Rest in power, Brother Rosenbaum.
And just because I don't want it to slip through the cracks, and I think it's worth mentioning, Drew Hernandez, that last witness we saw, not only is he a supposed journalist for Real America News, which is like an OAN or Newsmax type of outlet, but he was in the Capitol on January 6th.
You said it, Rebecca. You said it, and didn't you say he was after this clown testified on behalf of Kyle Rittenhouse?
He went on Tucker last night.
On Tucker.
From the courts to the cucker. I'm sorry, Tucker. Anyway, I think we've done a thorough job this morning of fleshing out all of the absurdities of white supremacy. Y'all want to party a little bit? We got the patron party tonight at what time did you say, James? I think we said 9 p.m. Yeah. Patron party, patreon.com/like it or not. Rebecca, I don't want you to take 2 days off every week, but if you're coming back snatching wigs like that, maybe we have to get you more days off because you came through. You chose violence this morning. Thank you for this coverage.
I mean, I chose violence because I want justice. And I mean, we're not going to, it sucks because I say this all the time, and I want something different. And I feel like the more that we don't talk about it, it'll disappear. So not that we have to talk about it every day, but we're going to talk about it on the show. It's going to be Black Joy, but it's going to be, we're going to call things out. We're going to call a thing a thing. I don't care how you want it. I don't care how you want to see it. I don't care how you want to serve to you, sweetie. Sit there and eat your food. Because if you don't, you should have sat there and ate your food.
Like it or
not. But, you know, justice for all Black people that have been done wrong in any way, shape, or form. I don't know what else to say. I hope that every day, I hope for my prayer every morning, and this is how you guys should know, and we'll take it to a nice, cute little after party moment. My prayer every morning is that everybody that I know, all my loved ones, make it to see another day.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Do you have to pray that prayer? Do you have to pray a prayer that your nephews and nieces go to school and aren't treated other because they're other, right? Not walking home from school and the cop comes out and points a gun at them, a minor. That's happened to me. And I have to pray every day that doesn't happen to my nephews or my future children. So the conversation will continue until something happens. Amen.
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 All right.
Amen. Shoot. Listen. I think this is quite enough. We got the patron party tonight. This is good. Unless y'all just feel the need to like try to laugh this morning. But I mean, we could cut out here.
I'm okay.
Are you coming? Wait. Rebecca A. Zor. What time are you coming today?
Oh, I gotta work. I got a text from my boss.
Oh.
So got to work.
I think Rebecca should respond to Tiffany J, or at least or celebrate Tiffany J's response from the G section, but that's up to you guys.
Tiffany J?
Yeah.
Tiffany J. I don't know who Tiffany J is.
So this blonde insurrectionist cried defamation and got clapped back.
By Tiffany J.
Yes.
Well, let's take a look at it.
Yeah.
That's G. Well, G1 is the tweet and G2 is the clip.
G2 is a clip.
So she initially tweeted after January 6th that she wasn't going to go to jail because she's got blonde hair and white skin.
I mean, she was close to being right.
She didn't get much jail time, but then when Tiffany basically discussed her case and the fact that, whoops, you are going to prison, she threatened to sue and cry defamation, and that goes to the clip. You can show the tweet first just to give the background if you
Okay, so here's the tweet.
So this is her tweeting in March about she's special and she's not going to see any repercussions.
Okay, definitely not going.
I'm about to say I got it. Definitely not going to jail. Sorry, I have blonde hair, white skin, a great job, a great future, and I'm not going to jail. Sorry to ran your hater parade. I did nothing wrong. Stupid.
Thank you, James.
And she was.
I wanted you to read it in white girl voice.
Oh, bring it back on.
Put it back up. Put it back up. This definitely worked.
I need to go get the wig.
Go get the wig.
No.
I ain't gonna get the wig. Put it back up tonight.
Just pretend the wig's there.
Definitely not going to jail. Sorry, I have blonde hair, white skin, a great job, a great future, and I'm not going to jail. Sorry to rain on your hater parade. I did nothing wrong. I want to speak to your man.
That was everything. That's exactly what she looks like. She sounds like. And I did hear about this story. And so, what was what happened next, David?
So, shout out to Infinite Content, our self-labeled assistant producer on Twitter. Right.
We appreciate it. He does drop all the great links.
Tiffany J, we've played clips of her in the past, just like laughing clips and hilarious stuff. But apparently she had done a clip about this woman, Jenna Ryan, and Jenna Ryan didn't appreciate it. Well, this is what happened.
Oh, players. Let me put my glasses on so I can see it. Okay, let me calm down. Players, guess who it is? It's Jenna Ryan. Jenna, I know you're not on here threatening to sue someone for defamation. I just know. I just know you fucking lying, Jenna. Well, shit, players. Looks like I'm gonna need a give, send, and go because I'm on here defaming Jenna Ryan. Well, Jenna, I'm gonna save you some time and some money because it looks like you need it. Jenna, did you not get arrested for your participation in that failed insurrection on January 6th? Did you not plead guilty to those charges because of your role in the insurrection on January 6th? Jenna, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't prosecutors arguing for you to receive 60 days in prison and a $500 fine? Now, you must understand that in order for there to be a case for defamation, I had to be lying. This is not defamation, sweetheart. And all of this information is available online. I just told everybody about it. So if you want to sue me, make sure you sue the Daily Mail, CNN, make sure you sue the Daily Beast, make sure you sue all of those places. But Jenna, I have one more question for you. Are you still feeling noble and proud that you participated in the insurrection? You didn't get a pardon from Frumpy Dump. How did that white skin and that blonde hair work out for you? Didn't look like it worked out very well, now did it? And now you're on here talking about you're going to sue somebody for defamation. You just do that. I'll be waiting for your lawsuit.
Come on, not her blinking. She blinked with both eyes. I'll be waiting for your lawsuit. Not both eyes, child. Not both eyes.
Did y'all see? So I was watching one of them talk shows last night. It was on the TV. But did y'all see the clips of Susan? Was it Bobert, whatever the white lady is?
Yeah,
Bobert. Did y'all see those clips of her? Like it's on a podcast. Man, it looks like you would think it's an SNL skit that you're watching, but these are actual like legit, bro. And then when I tell y'all, I'm just like, yo, she didn't say that for real, but she just like
we gotta find that clip.
Man, yeah.
What did she say?
Man, it was all over the place, Rebecca, talking about Trump.
I was just about to say it probably didn't make any sense.
They're not the brightest group.
None at all.
White supremacists are not sending their best. You know, another reason the trolls in the comment section are so furious this morning is because we do understand just how mediocre or subpar their lives really are. I mean, Lauren Boebert is the best that they can do. Marjorie Taylor Greene, that's your hero.
And then when they want somebody who's bipartisan. But then when they want somebody who's bipartisan, I ain't even gonna do it like that. But
girl, go ahead.
I ain't even gonna do it like that. I ain't gonna do it like that. But they send Nancy when they want bipartisanship. They send Nancy Pelosi, and it gets cringy.
Jim Clyburn.
It gets cringy.
Real cringy.
It gets cringy. I'm looking and I'm like,
Oh Lord, what has she done did now? Last time you had to read Nancy Pelosi for filth, I laughed for 3 days later.
I ain't even going. We saw how she handled like the George Floyd situation. It's like, who sent her? You guys are not sending your best. You guys are not sending your best.
Right? Is that all y'all got?
What if they are though? What if they are?
Wait a minute. It's not giving what it's supposed to be, Rebecca.
Right. That's all y'all got. Okay.
You dirty Rebecca. I'm going to finesse our way right out of that one.
But I see I'm going to move on. I told you I ain't even going to do it like that.
You did say move on. We are equal opportunity readers for filth. It doesn't matter your political persuasion. Okay. What were you saying, James? Somebody was saying something.
No, I think James mentioned SNL when he was mentioning Boebert. A420 Kitty Dragon on Twitch said Kimmel did a skit asking people on the street how SNL was doing, but what he was playing was clips of Boebert.
Oh, wow.
It was that bad.
Jesus Christ. And she's an elected official. You guys are not doing. Listen,
right.
Bro, we have
got the hot sauce in the bag. You're not sending your best.
You're not there.
Oh, this is
you're not sending your best.
I will get on. Oh, Greg. I'll get on Clinton. I'll get on Hillary. Because remember what happened with
her? At least she's smart.
We have to go. We had to. People were saying, "Oh, I'm going to choose Trump or Hillary," and then they ended up choosing Trump because they weren't sending their best. Hillary, not because you were a woman, I was going to vote for you because I remember that. Remember, we got our first, right? Bill Clinton, not Bill Clinton. President Barack Obama was ours. He was our black, and then to me, the white feminist groups had Hillary, right? And that was the closest things that we can get. Okay, as a woman and president, okay, whatever. That was a whole big thing, but you weren't sending your best because she was pulling hot sauce out of her bag.
the ghetto-ness of it all.
She had a history of abusing Black countries, but we're not even going to go there. Let's take it a step further. You're not sending your best because remember, Joe, we did it, and she was saying that she likes Cardi B. Remember that? And she was moving like that.
The last 10 minutes be the last 10 minutes be the best sometimes.
You're not sending your best.
You're not sending your best.
You're not.
Y'all sending Joe Manchin ass over here. Joe Manchin, Kirsten. Oh man, it's an epidemic of white mediocrity around us. What the hell is going on?
People pulling up and getting recorded talking about they want to be gun-toting folks and got dirt strapped to the heels of their $5 Old Navy sandals, and you're not sending your best. You're not sending your best.
White supremacy, y'all got to do better. You got to do better.
So please download the clip.
Oh man,
you got
the
it.
video?
It's funny though. It's
a little. It's just under 3 minutes, so we don't have to play the whole thing.
If Lauren Boebert, if this was my representative, I'd be angry too. I'd be just as mad as the trolls. So let's run it.
We need a full investigation into just how many puppies were eaten alive on Fauci's watch.
What?
I think it was a good skit.
I told y'all.
The hair, the voice was perfect.
Yeah, almost real.
Almost real, exactly.
I want old Uncle Joe to have as much time at the beach as possible. In fact, my impeachment articles would totally free up his schedule.
I mean, it's over the top, but that's what SNL's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a little, to make the point.
I like the actress. She's really pretty. She actually looks familiar. I was trying to figure out who she was.
How do you think Lauren Boebert would feel seeing that sketch?
I think she would feel like it was too far and be offended by it.
If you're a public figure, you kind of have to
Black people, just
expect that type of stuff. But it wasn't tasteful.
I delivered one of my children in the front seat of my truck because as a mom of 4, we got things to do. Ain't nobody got time for 2.5 months of maternity leave.
Are you embarrassed to see Hollywood portray
Nobody has time for maternity leave?
this way?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm very disappointed to see that's how they betray one. Oh, yes.
That was obviously scripted by whatever directors did all that, but I feel like the real Lauren would actually be like a little upset about that.
She has family, she has kids, she has other people who would have to see that. And it's embarrassing for her, it's embarrassing for the country to see. They did go too far. They did go too far with this.
Now, what if
I
told you that this is really Lauren Boebert?
Oh,
Girl.
It's true.
Seriously?
It wasn't comedy at all, right? Like she didn't mean it as a comedy.
Oh, wow.
Hallelujah.
So she really said that? She really said that.
Okay, that's interesting. That's obviously like a comedy skit, but
white guy doesn't know what to say. He's interesting.
No, that is crazy.
Shit that she was saying.
That is crazy.
Yeah, man.
So
white supremacy is not
that gave full SNL skit, but her saying that I had my 4 kids in the in the front of my truck. So all them damn kids, you a whole lie. You was in the hospital. You had a nurse. You had all of that. All of that to say that maternity leave ain't real. Girl, have a seat. Have a seat. 2. It was so believable that was an SNL sketch. But the fact that you could talk to people, Black folks always going, why they got?
We always trying to love on somebody. Why are we so patient with them?
It ain't love on somebody. The lies though, you're not gonna catch them not knowing when they know they on a show. You think they're gonna be like, oh, I don't know who that is. No, it's gonna be like,
No.
Yeah.
It was real rude, and I don't think they should have did it. That skit was just terrible.
That's just the way they do people. That's the way they do all of
it. They went too far. Because you know how we know how to be. There goes that thing.
She's a human being too. She's a human being.
We're code switchers, and we know. Listen, they got me on the show. Kimmel, hold on, let me.
Yeah.
I
act like I know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you're not gonna get. Yeah, she was wrong. She was. But I liked her on that one show.
She looked
that
familiar.
show.
What you about to
Snap
say?
is gonna bring it to me because I don't even know who she is. I liked her on that show.
Friends. She's the one for Friends.
Friends. Thank you.
And, there's so many white people on Friends. She got to be one of them.
She was so good on Friends. She was the one that was helping them move the couch out the door that didn't fit. I know that episode.
She was the one, the dingy one for Friends. No.
Yeah, that's a.
Tunde, what you was about to say, Tunde?
Hey, look. So this is what never ceases to amaze me about the right is that she can get on there and do basically this SNL skit, and there'll be people on the right who look at that as like, oh yeah, she's saying what we like because she's owning the libs, right? Or she's owning the left, right? But there's no policy. She just argued that, I'm going to have my kid in the front seat of my car, then go on maternity leave. That's insane. Like there's no policy. There's nothing that they can do for the people. It's just, oh, hey, let me just speak to your hate. That's all they speak to.
Let me up the ante a little bit. Let's skip a couple of steps. These savages are so far gone that they're throwing their children on the altar of COVID-19. Okay. They need to be, I would say locked up, but that doesn't work well for black people. So I'm going to take that out of my vernacular. But they certainly don't need to be in power because they're trying to get as many people killed as possible. And they laugh all the way to their graves. Ask Phil Valentine. I read his book. I thought he was a smart guy. Dumbass is dead now. COVID-19.
Oh my God. Benjamin Dixon.
Damn.
Benjamin P. Dixon.
Escalated really quickly.
How we do that around here?
Oh man.
Sweet home. That's how they're committed to death. No, let's be real. I have his book. They're not only dying themselves, they're killing them. I just want to speak to the levels to what Tunde's comment was. Like he's talking about, it's like an absurdity. Like she's not talking about policy. Not only is she not talking about policy, she's trying to make sure as many people die from COVID-19 as possible. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to push us closer to the day where we can specifically wish COVID on one person, like by name. We're not there yet, but I'm trying to move the Overton window there.
And y'all, this chick has, I can't believe that she has a real podcast that she does. I'm just looking through her little.
No, she's a congresswoman.
Tammy.
Bro, she's a congresswoman.
That's who it is. She reminds me of Tammy. What was her name?
Lorenza?
Is it Tammy Lauren? Tammy Lauren?
Topanga.
Hey,
don't you the blonde hair one, right?
Boy Meets World. Don't you?
Yeah, no, she's fine. She a baddie. She a baddie.
Pull up Tamanani.
But
she's a brunette Tamanani.
Tommy Lauren. But this woman is seated, and if Tommy was Tommy in today's day and age, about 2 years ago, Tommy would be seated too. If she was running for something 2 years ago. For sure. Tommy ran so that Lauren could walk.
Somebody said it best. Lauren Boebert looks like Tina Fey.
Oh,
Tina Fey and the other chick.
Don't bring Tina Fey into this.
Being SNL,
yeah,
right?
the other chick.
They're both beautiful though. They're both beautiful though. I will say they're both.
What's the person that ran for president?
Sarah Palin. Sarah
Palin.
There
we
we go. She looks like a mix of Tina Fey and Sarah Palin head ass.
You got it. Whoever said
about as smart as Sarah Palin. They have a combined IQ of between the two of them.
Looks like Sarah Palin.
Wait, pull her back on the screen, bro. We got to know who we're talking about.
And let me say this: Sarah Palin is not. Sarah Palin's a beautiful woman as well, and so is this. Lauren
she's also
girl.
Dumb. She's also beautiful. Dumb as well.
But yes, but that's the thing. You guys could be here, and what people were able to say about her is beautiful gowns. Beautiful.
Oh my God.
We can't say nothing else. This does look like a sketch. This does look like Tina Fey is playing Sarah Palin. Like Bring Tina Fey back so that she can play Lauren Boebert because she's gonna be killing it. Promise you that.
Hey, no, you gotta play the first 5 seconds where she says we gotta investigate the puppy situation. This is Tina Fey playing Sarah Palin. How many
puppies were eaten?
Playing Lauren Boebert.
We need a full investigation into just how many puppies were eaten alive on Fauci's watch.
Brother! This is a congressperson.
She needs to be one of the mean girls. She's like one of the I can't go out tonight. I'm sick.
Which one is fetch?
No, but the Mean Girls though. The Mean Girls knew how to step out. The Mean Girls knew how to step out. The Mean Girls were strategic. You know what?
Yeah.
Bubba, you might be onto something because this heifer she might be strategic. This might be her strategy that Tommy was going with as well. Tommy had to play the dumb blonde. I do not think that she was really a dumb blonde. She had to play the dumb blonde, the one that was all about the right. And then, you know, she played that sexy country girl at the same time, which got her coins, but also got her onto Fox, right? And then kicked off of Fox. And then she was doing actually what I'm doing now, sitting in the house. But one of those
jokes come at our own expense. Oh my god!
But somebody was getting paid for what she did, like really paid. Like she, even with her in the house, she still garnered so much. Where people were like, "Yeah, we're looking for Tommy. We're looking for Tommy. We're looking for Tommy. We're looking for." So they literally followed her there. This woman is seated, and it doesn't matter because in today's day and age, you can be seated and that because it's still gonna like.
And we got Beavis and Butthead in there as well.
It's a lot of crazy happening, but the popularity is what's gonna win. Your popularity on social media, your capabilities of being on the TikToks as a 34-year-old congresswoman, is she or whatever your capabilities as such. She's 34 years old. I mean, she's a beautiful girl. She looks young, but
she doesn't. I mean, usually white supremacy make you look like Boba Fett or something.
Raisins,
raisins in the sun.
Raisins in the sun.
Kelly McEnany, not Kelly McEnany. Yeah, go ahead. What you got? A comparison and contrasting. Here we go. My favorite part of class.
Juxtaposition.
So here we have Lauren Boebert or whatever her name is. And then hold on.
Let's see what you got. It's going to be uncanny.
All right.
Oh Jesus!
It's perfect. Wow.
Shit.
It's 3 generations.
Wait, is that Tina? Tina Fey.
Yes.
And then Sarah Palin.
Oh my gosh.
And then Lauren. It's like both of them had a baby together.
Oh my god!
It's like 3 generations. It's like the young one, the oldest maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Well, Sarah Palin is giving older than Tina Fey in that one.
I'm not gonna lie. Lauren Boebert looked like she could be damn near in college still. Like white supremacy has not aged her yet.
She's 34 years old. And just all of this together is a joke. It's crazy. Tina Fey, come back.
Give her about 6 months.
And
give her about 6 more months of this pure white supremacy that she's snorting right now. She's like taking the uncut strain of white supremacy right now. She'll look like the Crypt Keeper by midterm elections.
Yeah, I don't know because I think you come out the gate looking that way. There were a few that came out the gate looking that way.
What's that lady who
we're not going to even say
Trump?
it. Now, we're not going to say. I wasn't going to go there, but that's who came to mind.
It's a Kelly something, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Kellyanne Conway. My God, today.
And I feel like Kellyanne Conway used to give. I feel like Kellyanne Conway used to give Baywatch vibes back in the day. But working for
will do that to
these, working for evil people will take away your soul. You become unattractive. You become like all of the above. They used to say money keeps you looking fly.
Not all that. So not all money is good money. So I'm gonna give. We're gonna put Lauren Boebert on the clock. How long before you think she decays into Kellyanne Conway levels of white supremacy skin decay?
I feel like they're starting to defy it, though.
They're drinking the baby blood. Then that's what's going on.
Yes, I feel like they're starting to defy it.
Look at a question mark after that, by the way, folks.
Yeah. I feel like they're starting to defy it right now.
Can I make a correction while it's on my mind? I know it's completely out of left field. The other day when we were covering the story of the Astro World, and we the three of us, or at least I did for sure. I don't know if y'all did. I repeated what the police officer said about the security guard getting injected in the neck.
Yes.
turns out that was a lie. And y'all, I should have known better because I don't ever trust the police. What made me think I could trust the police in that moment?
Let me make a correction for you though.
It didn't happen. The guy didn't get injected with anything.
Yes, we were reporting what you didn't make a lie. You didn't say a lie. Yeah. That's what was told to the police officer by someone who was there. Now, I'm saying police officers, when the police give us reports, right, our instinct should be to not trust it. But I can't always agree with that though, because in that particular moment we had to get some kind of news and it had to come from the police. Unfortunately, somebody who was there that the police did trust for information, right? Who was working there, who was supposed to give them, hey, this is what was going on, said that he was stuck in the neck by something with drugs, like they were sticking people in the neck. So he said that's the news that he was given. Now he came out and corrected it, and he was kind of upset. It looked like he wanted to grab the man who said that to come get your line behind up here.
He's a black man too. He looked like he had some strength. Like he was like you mother.
He's like,
wait, okay. So is a black officer trusting a white man telling him something? See,
listen. So, and it was supposed to be an official who was working there. So now to hear that from the official that's supposed to be taking care of what was going on, to make that claim and then turn around and say it was a lie, it also put in people's minds there could have been something, because so much news is coming out against the whole Astro World, Travis Scott, everyone involved, that maybe this person could have changed their story as well. With that, like, hey, change your story, and we could, talk about something that could have happened as well.
I just wanted to throw that out there. And actually, you make a really great point there, Rebecca. I didn't see that second part, but cool. I just want to make sure I threw that out there.
Yeah, so you were just,
at that point, that's what everybody had heard.
It's more of an update to the story. Yeah.
I just felt some kind of way because I'm like, God damn it, I'm not supposed to trust. I mean, you're right.
No, but this is information that came directly from the officers. It's nothing that you were given that was wrong. They gave him wrong information as well. He was pissed. You should see what I see. I know the other day, y'all.
No, I just know
that. And this and that and da. But yeah, it started a lot of conversation too. So I think it's more
Rebecca,
about.
We must really miss you because we're staying into overtime with you now.
I think it's more about the power part of the people that Travis Scott. That it's more about power that the people like Travis Scott and his legal team and things like that have, who could have spoken to people who have already made statements and could have offered up something, whatever. And that's just my opinion on that situation. And so So that's just that.
Patron party tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, patreon.com/like it or not. Or if you are a patron of the Benjamin Dixon Show, you know where to get access to Twitch. If you're a Twitch subscriber, you know where to be in the place. Rebecca Zora is going to be there. James, it's in your hands, man.
Yep. It's Friday, guys. I hope that you enjoy. I'm out of here. What? Oh, are you making a joke?
No, she said. He said Rebecca will be there. He's like, Rebecca's not going to be there tonight.
Oh, thank you, sweetie. Thank you for clarifying for me. I will not be at the patron party tonight, but if you are there, make sure you come ready to tip your DJ, tip your host. It's going to be a nice night tonight.
I see. I'm gonna have to write that in.
Party. Make sure you pull up with your friends, your boyfriends, your friends, your boo thing, your food bay, all of that, because it's going down tonight, 8:00 at the patron party.
And Rebecca Zora is going to be there with flying colors.
I'm not. I love you.
Love you, Rebecca. Have fun.
I'm definitely not.
James. As long as James is there, we got a party. See you there tonight, bro.
Yeah, ain't got no choice. Do it. All right, y'all. Love y'all. Before y'all get yeah, there we go. Before we get out of here today, make sure y'all information for today. First of all, thank y'all for joining. We'll see y'all tonight, 9 p.m. Patreon.com/like it or not. So make sure that y'all come join in, bring y'all guys to the party, man. Hey, y'all have a great day. Thank y'all everything for a great week. Love y'all. We mean it. And lastly, affirmation for the day. I am only speaking kind words to myself today. I am only speaking kind words to myself today. Y'all go be great, man. Y'all already great. Stay blessed. Let the universe give you what you need. Love y'all, mean it. We will see y'all tonight. And then if not tonight, Monday. Enjoy your weekend, y'all. Deuces. People who persecute you, it's still a life on my path and a lamp under my feet. I know my faith strong, but my flesh still kind of weak. When that victory be looking like the verge of defeat, and I feel that disrespect, help me turn my other cheek and say sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me.